Hello everyone, this is just for our video and also for the people that are joining us on stream. Hello everyone, my name is John. Welcome to another episode of HTHT where the set is cheap but the talk is deep.
Let's go.
Even though the set is not really cheap
The set
anymore
ain't
these
really
days.
cheap, to be honest.
Yeah. Yeah, and today we are joined by supercatkei.
Hello.
Or real name in real life, real friends, real family will know her as Denise.
Yes.
Yeah.
Very much.
Perfect. Okay, so Denise, okay, she's actually a streamer with 6.3k followers on Twitch and 5,000 followers on Instagram.
Why are we counting?
Well, these are just some stats for those statistician people. And she streams a variety of games like Valorant, Tetris, and of course just chatting content because you are an engaging streamer. Yeah? So all while building up a strong and tightly knit community with your viewers.
Yeah.
Yeah? But what happens when she closes Streamlabs? Yeah? Why not? Well, we're going to find out today. So welcome to the show.
Suddenly migrates to OBS. I'm just kidding.
Yes. Oh, well, what happens when you close your computer?
Oh, okay.
Welcome to the show, Denise.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
Do you like to HTHT?
Yes, I do actually. I do a lot. I do a lot of chat as well on stream. So this will be fun. I just generally get scared of cameras.
Yes.
It's very ironic because we're streamers, right? You would think you're not afraid of cameras.
Most of the time, you spend a lot of time in front of camera. You should be comfortable, right?
Yeah, but I get a bit jittery sometimes.
Well, don't worry. I'm pretty sure your viewers are very kind to you all. Our viewers and our commenters are going to be super kind because as with all episodes, I like to preface first, when we do our IMO or our HTHT, we always respect each other and have a nice intellectual conversations in our comment section.
Nice.
Which is great, yeah? Okay, but before we go on, we have to talk about today's sponsor, which is, I believe just now stream on chat, you have noticed this little baggie here. I have to point it out. So today, okay, on this episode HTHT, we get to my favorite part of HTHT, which is the drinks, right? And today, ONESHOT actually has kindly sponsored us some drinks for this episode.
Whoa.
Yeah, so they got us their green grape. Let's put this out. Their sweet lychee. And the very last one, which I think is a new flavor that's coming out, right? It is tropical mango.
Mango.
Very Southeast Asian. Yeah? Okay, so these are all their flavors. Today we'll be drinking ONESHOT. Thank you so much, ONESHOT, for sponsoring the drinks. So which one would you like to have first?
Niche. Okay. Context. What is the pink one?
The pink one is sweet lychee.
I have never eaten a lychee and I've never eaten mango.
What?
So the obvious option is grape.
Really?
I've eaten grapes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, but of course, on this show, we like to pace ourselves. So if you find it's a little bit too much, if you don't want, you want to drink your water, that's fine too because we have plenty of water.
Yes.
Now's the time to declare it. Would you like water or would you like the fastly evaporating liquid?
I am still on medication.
Water
so I'll be
it is.
drinking water.
Water it is.
But I will take the green grape any day. Trust me. I have to be disciplined today.
Yes.
I apologize.
No, that's fine. Okay, so in that case, I'll be opening a bottle. I'll be the rebel and try the new flavor, which is tropical mango. And this is my favorite flavor of HTHT because when these drinks get flowing, the tea gets flowing too. Okay, just a little bit for me, and Denise will have to get water.
Yes, I have water.
All right. Cheers to a good episode.
Cheers.
Bam.
Clink. Ooh.
Thank you, ONESHOT.
Thank you, ONESHOT.
Hint, it would be great if we got cups too. All right. Without further ado, let's go into our first section.
Let's
okay,
go.
Denise? Okay. Section 1, labeled by our professional stalker, Mr. Alastair Pang.
Of course.
Yeah, who has done a lot of extensive stalking and research. Section 1 is labeled unpredictable.
Wow.
Okay.
Interesting.
Question 1. Denise started off as an N-level student, but went ahead to top her class in Poly, good job, and is currently studying for her master's despite never having been to university.
Yeah.
Did you ever think you would be furthering your education as far as you did? And what pushed you to do so?
Wow. Alastair really got his information.
He's dangerous on the internet, that's all I'm saying.
So, yeah, I guess that was pretty much my educational journey in short. I've never been a academic person. I'm not good with books. I'm not good with exams. But I really love learning, learning and trying new things. Yep. So I just like to do a lot of random things when I was younger. But I would never really prioritize grades. To be very like honest and open, right?
Yeah.
I give like full credit for the fact that I managed to even go into to the Poly Foundation program.
Right.
To God, like, because like I like for social studies, right? I only studied globalization. You know,
Yes.
like for the SEQ, which is like the essay kind of questions, and you have to like basically vomit out everything you memorize. I only memorized like one topic. And it did not come out for the paper.
Oh my goodness, you're one of those spotters, right? Trying to spot the question.
Not even trying. I just heard someone like, oh, globalization. I'm like, oh, okay. Yeah, so I did it. And then I remember coming out of that paper, I was like, no way I'm going to get into the Poly Foundation program.
Yes.
Right? Because it's very difficult. You have to be top 10% of the Singapore N-level students to get through. You have to get like a certain amount of points. I was like, no way. So just try my best for everything else, and then miraculously I managed to get through to PFP, and so that was a very life-changing moment because Poly is a whole new game, right? Poly is kind of like
it's definitely a significant jump from N levels, O levels.
Yeah, for sure. And I took film, so I went into film because I like watching films.
Right.
And I've always been interested in making videos since I was a kid. So like vlogs and stuff like that, I would do all of it. So I went into film, and it was a very game-changing experience where, you know, it's not about getting full marks. Like how do you grade a film, right? How do you give a film an A? And there's technical aspects that like fix this soundboard, right?
Yes.
Get 15 marks to fix this soundboard, but like, okay, fine. But like you can't really grade anything else. And I think that's really where I excelled, you know, and I loved learning every aspect of film, and then that was kind of it. I was like, film school, great, holla, I'm out, right? And fun fact, I topped the course, but I'm not the first.
Right.
And the small story behind that is that I actually rejected or declined being first in the cohort.
Oh, how does that work?
Basically, you go for an interview.
Right.
They'll interview you and be like, hey, so why do you think you should be the gold medalist of the cohort? And then I said I shouldn't. And they were like, huh? It's like a full-on film.
It's like, are you Singaporean?
Yeah, it's like, don't you want your gold medal? And the main reason is because I felt like whoever was in the running deserved it much more than I did.
What made you think that?
Because they were very much living and breathing film.
Right.
Whereas I wasn't living and breathing film the same way like they did. Like they were very into like narrative films or like documentaries, and I took the advertising route, which is very unconventional.
Yes.
In back when I started in film. It's not anymore, obviously.
It's definitely not.
Not anymore, but it was back then. So I told them, like, you know, like they were trying to like hint me. They're like, oh, but you want to continue to be a producer, right? And I was like, no, I don't want to continue in this space.
Right.
You know, like I loved school.
Yes.
But I really think it would really make the other person's day if they got gold.
Yeah.
And that was the only thing on my mind. In hindsight, I could have gotten an extra money. Like there's a lot of things that come with like topping the cohort, right? But I don't know, at that moment I was just kind of like, you know, it's been like 3 years, and like I think they would love that recognition, that moment where like all of the effort paid off.
Right.
Because unfortunately, like especially in like in Asian society, right, we think like, oh, if you get an A, then you're the best. If you get a B, you're like horrible. And I guess I had the option to do something, right? I was like, yeah, heck it, I don't care. I really don't. And so I remember I came out of the interview, and the lecturer, he was like, you know, you just gave away your gold, right? Yeah. And then I was just like, yeah. I'm like, it's not like it's just kind of like, yeah, I know. And I hope whoever gets it knows that they deserve it. Yeah. So even like if they find, because I've never told anyone like this story. So even if they find out this story, doesn't mean that they didn't deserve it. Right?
Absolutely.
They absolutely deserved it. It's just that the schools have a structure, you know, and I guess like what Alester wrote, like I like being a little bit, I like to poke with structure. I like to poke with rules. I'm sorry, I haven't even got to like the master's part.
No, that's fine. I like this story because like, I think you're personally, I am someone with an unconventional education track as well.
Yeah.
So hearing this from a different perspective, from someone who also had an unorthodox education, who is also like I would say experienced education differently from the majority. This is something that I find firstly highly commendable. because what you did was pretty gangster. Put it there.
Let's go.
Yeah.
I'm a rebel, guys.
Yeah, but like, I think it's interesting that like, in this society of ours, one of the things that you considered was about how the other person would have felt about the course being so much more invested in the arts than you were because you were more marketing, advertising.
Yeah,
track.
I basically just took a different route. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's unconventional and cool on its own, isn't it? Let's drink to that.
Oh, cheers.
Yeah, and yeah, let's continue with your story, man.
Yay. Okay. But yeah, I think just a little bit about the marketing part. Basically, back when we could apply for internships in school,
Yes.
it was very common that film students
Yeah.
would go to production houses.
Yeah, which made sense, right?
Right?
Because,
Yeah, like so you're from film, your internship will be in a production house.
right.
You're from advertising, your internship will be in an advertising house.
Mm.
You're from mass comm, pick and choose, right?
Yeah.
That's mass communications for you.
Yes.
And I remember sitting in the hall when they were announcing saying like, oh, these are the production houses you can choose from. And it's with everyone. It's from everyone in the faculty. I was like, I don't wanna I literally just spent 2.5 years learning everything that is similar to production houses, right? Making my own films and all that stuff. I don't want to do that anymore. I was like, I want to go into something else.
Right.
And then I saw the advertising. They had this internship, a hybrid internship,
Right.
a few months in Singapore and a few months in Japan. And it was for an advertising agency. First time, this would be the first batch. I was like, dope, right? Japan, yo. So I signed up for it. And little did I know I was the only film student that signed up for it. And it was really interesting because people told me like, oh, why is this girl coming to take our slot? Like she should just stay in production and stay in film. And then I was like, wow, so fascinating, right? Like you'd be surprised at like how people respond. Like I wasn't, I didn't even, it's obviously competitive because there was only 2 slots.
Okay.
Yeah, for the internship. So there were over like 80 people that applied for that internship. The school shortlisted to 4, and then the 4 of us went for the interviews with the agency.
Right.
So it was very was tough, right?
Yeah.
But thankfully I got in. So that's kind of how I got into like advertising and stuff, which is a very big part of my story like later on.
Yeah.
But yeah, like sometimes just like I don't know, it's some people will say hipster, but I just didn't want to do that because that's what everyone else did. Or just because that is what it is, right? I don't believe in that. Like I believe that there's always like different like options and you just have to find the options.
Yeah, you don't want to be shoehorned into just like what people expect you to do.
Yeah.
Especially when you could be qualified for so many other things.
Yes.
And you could broaden your horizons. And I think that's really cool. That's really forward thinking for someone who was in Polytechnic. Because I don't speak for everyone, but I feel that like when I was that age, when I was in JC, right? We were not that enterprising and we were not that self-aware to understand that like sometimes education you have to go you don't have to just always follow the straight and narrow. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think this is where like it has clearly reaped dividends, for you.
I hope so.
I mean, it definitely has. And at minimum, it has like sort of like opened your eyes to the wider community, to the wider world, to understand the world a little bit better. And this is something that I think if you put all your eggs in one basket too early in your education, not that it's not a good thing, you end up semi-blinding yourself to what the other things could be.
Yep.
Unintentionally, albeit it's a side effect, right?
100%.
And like and I'm glad you did that because I think that maybe having said this on stream and on video, right, there may be that one person who doesn't know what to do and is thinking of what to do next. Opening doors.
Yeah, and like the fact that I really encourage like trying new things.
Yes.
Because even if you find out, oh, I actually don't like this, that is progress. People think it's a waste of time, right?
No,
like,
it's not.
Yeah, no, it's not.
It's not a waste of time. No, I totally agree with you. No, because this is my own philosophy as well.
Yeah.
I totally agree with you. Yeah.
Yeah.
At least finding out, like at minimum, there is still a takeaway, right? Finding out what you don't want to do.
Yep. Yeah. It's finding out what you don't want to do leads you closer to knowing what you want to do. And I think that's why I've always been really adventurous with trying new things. And I think like especially like Chad will know as well. Like I love to experiment and to just not limit myself to just the things that I'm interested in. And as we get older, I think we tend to do that more. We lose that like childlike curiosity of like, oh, let's go try everything. So just like constantly reminding myself to do that as well. Yeah.
Is that why you decided to go for your masters as well?
Wow.
So wait, what are you like sort of like taking a master's in?
Okay, I'm taking a master's in digital management,
Mm.
which is essentially learning how to apply like different digital technologies, advanced technologies into like companies, teams, businesses. That's in general. I could be entirely wrong, and like everyone would believe me, but I think that's what it is. I've been in the course
it fits
for a
the
while.
definition of business and management. So
Yeah, I think so, right? But just to fast forward a bit about my life, basically after I graduated from Poly, I went to build startups based in Singapore and then eventually in New York.
Yes.
I did that for about 2.5 years until COVID hit. Fun fact, this time last year, I was panicking, calling Emirates to change me and my participants' flights so that we would be able to leave New York to come back to Singapore. Because New York was shutting down, everything was closing.
Cases were exploding.
Yeah, borders with I think it was Europe at that time, shut. We were like, what if they close everything? So we were like, let's get out of here. So just fun fact, it's literally this time last year.
Right around circuit breaker.
So stay home notice happened 20th March at 10 p.m. in Singapore last year, 2020. We arrived back in Singapore 20th March, 8 a.m. Yeah, but we still did stay home notice, just didn't get the official one, just put it out there. But I digress. So I did that, and then with COVID, basically a lot of my work couldn't happen anymore. So I left my first startup. I ended up working for another one in New York City, entirely digital, entirely remote. So I've never worked with my second boss in person for almost a year. And but before I even got that job, I wanted to go back to a school environment because I realized when you are working, right, students are like, I want to go and like work. Like they're always really eager to work. But once you go into a working environment, there's a lot of expectations on you to know what you are doing. We hired you to do this and to know this.
Absolutely.
And I started working at a very young age. Okay, maybe not as young as some of you, but I was put in the startup world quite young. I was 19, 20. And there were so many things I still didn't know.
By the way. That's really rare.
Yeah. So, yeah, I guess.
Good job, man. Good job.
Thanks. Startup. The startup world is great. I love being in the startup world, but there's a lot of expectations to know know everything, and I didn't know everything, and I just wanted to escape knowing it all and being the dumbest person in the room. I think it is a privilege to be the dumbest person in the room because then you have something to learn from everyone.
Print that on a t-shirt. That's
Print
fantastic.
it on a shirt.
No, because honestly, right, I feel that like when you go into a room expecting to not know things, expecting to be filled in on things, right, that's when you truly learn.
Yep.
Because you learn on two fronts. Firstly, you learn the culture of it by being humble. Right? And secondly, you actually learn actual knowledge for the job domain that you're working for.
Yes.
Which I think is the attitude that people should approach work in general. In fact, we talked about this in one of our IMO episodes where we were discussing about first jobbers and what they should do and stuff like that. Yeah, good point. Fantastic.
Yeah. Sorry. I just realized I've spent I don't know how long on one question. I'm so sorry.
No, that's fine. This is intriguing. And you know what? We have time. We want to hear your story. And that's what you're here for, to tell us your story.
Thanks. This is weird. Okay.
No problem.
But
you're doing great.
Thanks. But yeah, so basically with that in mind, I looked for options.
Yes.
Even before I started going to startups, I actually did apply for uni.
Yes.
Because my dad is a bit more traditional. So he was like, apply for uni. And I would be the only child in the family to go to a local U.
Yeah.
So I applied and managed to get into both NTU and LaSalle.
Yes.
And NUS had a kind of like an offer as well. But I rejected all of it and I went to startup.
Yeah.
And I was like, there's nothing in the local university that really interests me, and 4 years is a very long time. You go in right now, something's big, right? Like now blockchain is big. You leave 4 years later, anything could happen and nobody would know, right? So there was a lot of considerations and I started looking at other options, and I finally found a course, which is the one that I'm currently in, that really spoke to me in terms of the modules and their approach to learning. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna try, but the chances of me getting in are 0 to none. Because I don't have a bachelor's. It's called bachelor's, right? I don't have a bachelor's degree. I have a diploma in film, not even in business.
Yes.
But again, with the whole why not, right? What do I
Yeah.
have to lose? And once I just get a rejection letter,
Yeah,
move
yeah.
on. I just applied for it. I had the interview while I was still in New York. It was a really good conversation. And before I know it, I got in to the
Nice.
masters. Yeah.
This is crazy, but I like this story because I think this is
Thanks.
this is a inspiration for many of us. Because the thing about it is that having broken new ground for people, right? A lot of people who don't even know that this such a venture is even possible.
Yeah.
Yeah, but like, okay, let's just summarize up this first question with the main point of the question, which would be, right, what pushed you to do this kind of things in your, what's your main motivator?
Wow.
If you had to say one thing.
Wow. Can I say two? I have a reason.
Sure, two.
Okay, so the main motivator
Yeah.
is clearly, and I can apply this to every question, is God. I think my faith in God 100% has pushed me to do a lot of these things. But I would say it's really the mentality of knowing that I don't have anything to lose, right? Like, and I can, like, and also just the fact that there are options out there. I just have to look for them. And because I would say that because I am of my faith in God and
Yeah.
knowing like He is in like control of everything, right?
Yes.
Then I kind of like, let's go, let's just like try things out and like
If all else fails, you can
Yeah.
fall back on Him.
yes, exactly. So that is my motivator. Maybe along the way I will like have a better answer for that. I don't know.
That's fine. I having at least that basis is something great.
Yeah.
To work on.
Oh,
Yeah.
a call.
A call. What's
I
the
found
call?
the word.
Right.
Core,
Okay.
like
CORE.
yes.
Yes.
So I know my values, my beliefs, what I'm willing to compromise and what I'm not willing to compromise. I've known that from a very early age, and that has helped me be able to make more decisions or to
I
be able
see.
to take more risks, because I know like, yeah, I can go into this industry and there's gonna be mean people everywhere,
Yeah.
but I have my core, right? And that will take me through everything.
This is actually a good point that you brought up, because I think having a high amount of self-awareness is actually really helpful when you venture like this. But I want you to summarize real quick, because this leads into our next question. Yeah.
Okay.
Which is, okay, considering that you know this about I would say you know yourself well, right? Was being not as academically inclined ever a source of insecurity for you?
Nah, man.
Nah?
Nah, man.
Nah? You heard it here first? Nah.
Nah, man. The only time I cried over my results was when I was in primary 5. I got 49 out of 100 for some math paper.
Oh,
I was in
no.
primary 5. I haven't, from my poor knowledge, I don't think I have really been affected by grades. Do you want me to summarize this point, or?
Yeah, you can summarize it real quick. Just tell us how that feeling of not being affected by grades ever came about. Because I would say in Singapore, no one is like that, right?
There's a couple,
handful,
handful.
yeah.
No, the majority. I don't know. I just didn't find it the way to do things. I think it's not a good reason to want to do well. I want to do well because I want to learn something. That was really my focus, not to get an A for a paper. And once I dropped the focus on getting good grades, I ended up doing really well in poly. So it was like a really weird situation.
It's like some epiphany going on.
Yeah, it's like kind of like and people don't believe me.
No, okay.
Right?
I believe in that philosophy as well. You know, I feel that like universities are places for learning, not for you to go there to excel and to score.
Yes. The only reason why people are so caught up with it is because society puts so much pressure on it, right? Like, oh, if you don't do well, you can't get into that school. And that school could give you a lot of opportunities that this other school couldn't. Then that's kind of where it all flops. I couldn't have gotten into poly if I didn't do well for N-levels.
Yeah.
Right? And I couldn't have gotten maybe into startups if I didn't do well in poly. So there's that association. Unfortunately, society is like that still. But I guess personally for me, it was just something I knew, like, you know, as long as I've learned one thing from today or from my class the other week, I am happy. As long as I learn one thing, and if I can apply it into my life, bonus, you know? Yeah.
Fantastic philosophy to have. All right, this actually leads into our next question, because I love it. You always leave the last sentence just nice, can segue one. Okay?
Yay!
So Denise started building startups, right, and was in charge of people older than her when she was just barely 19, 20, right? So how did you manage to overcome people not believing in you and manage your team well? Maybe this is phrase it from like a leadership kind of
Sure.
angle.
Maybe to give some context. So, in my first startup, I used to run a career development program that would bring Singaporeans over to New York for 1 month. And over there, they'll meet with different companies and work on like a mentorship and stuff like that. So I did it for a year. The program was for youth 19 to, about 30.
Yes.
And I was 20 at that time. So I was literally the baby of that age group. And it was very difficult.
Yes.
I've had people who I've initially at the very start, I hold no grudge.
Yeah.
It's just an interesting to reflect on. Like I remember I would tell them like, oh yeah, like I'm going to be the one that's bringing you to New York and help you guys settle in. And the older ones were like, oh, but we don't need a chaperone.
Yeah.
And I was like, I ain't no chaperone. I am the program. And I was just like, so I was kind of like, and even the funniest parts were when I was at the airport, right? And like their parents are bringing their 19-year-old, 20-year-old kid to the airport, sending them to New York City, dangerous America for 1 month, right? And they're like, who are you reporting to, right? I want to talk to they're like excited to like talk to an adult and like thrust their hands into like an adult. And then they see me, red-headed, just standing there. And I'm like, hi, I'm here and they don't know how to respond. I love it. Something I learned from those experiences, really challenging their minds, like just boggling their minds, right? How can this girl with red hair or orange hair or pink hair or now it's kind of like blue-gray, like what is it? Like, like it just like, how can this girl be bringing my child to New York for 1 month?
This girl who is the same age as my child.
Yes, exactly. Someone like that as well, right? Like, or younger than my child. And then my response is, you can. And that was, I guess, when I learned ageism. I think the word is ageism. And there is nothing like that in New York.
Right.
It does not exist in
Everyone
New York.
is really enterprising and open.
Your boss could be 19.
Right.
Right. Your boss could be 18 for all you care. And I just always kept that energy and brought them back to Singapore as much as I could. So, but the important thing is like, we remain humble. I recognize the
ageism.
Yeah. It's a culture shock.
Yeah.
In that sense, right? Because we are from like an Asian society. So I recognize the culture shock. I don't like aggressively be like, what do you mean? Like, hold me back. Like, it's just more of like showing them that it's possible. And this all started with my parents.
Oh.
So I did it with my parents first.
Right.
And they were like, how can my child be doing this? And it's not that they don't believe in me. Okay, very slight segue. When I did really well for N-levels, I took a screenshot, I took a photo of my certificate and I showed my mom. I was like, Mommy, look, I can make it to the foundation program. She's like, that's great. Can you take a photo with your name? It's just like, she didn't believe it was my certificate. It was a good joke. She's like, she's not serious. I love you, Mom. But like, it's just like, it's just how...
It's just how our society is.
Yeah,
I get it.
And I recognized that I wasn't doing something normal, right? So I would make sure like I would learn how to tell my parents what I was doing, tell them what work was I doing, and I would show them how it's impacted the lives of my participants. I would let them meet my participants, and then they start to recognize. And even with streaming, I'll probably talk about this later, but even with streaming, like they watch my streams. They might be here now. Hi, I don't know, and it helps them understand better. And when I knew how to talk better to my parents, strangers, right?
Yeah.
It gets a lot better. COVID was especially difficult because we ran half a program while COVID was happening, or before COVID became like COVID.
Yeah.
And I remember a parent like would call me up and was like, you must know how dangerous this is. I'm sure you have a child. I was like, I
am child.
Yeah, right. I was like, but obviously I didn't say that because I had like to work, right? I was like, I understand. But in my mind, I was like, I am baby. I was like, so it's I guess it's knowing when to like switch on.
Yeah.
And I'm still a kid. There's so many things I don't know, but that was my job, and I had to learn how to do my job, and I was hella good at my job, and just teaching that to other people was a very big part of my passion, like mentoring like youth and stuff like that. So I don't know if that answers the question.
No, it does actually. I think this is a great way to end that question, to move on to the next one, because actually you brought up COVID, right?
Yeah.
Which is just nice. It's a nice segue into question 3, which is Denise self-proclaims herself as the COVID baby of streaming.
Let's go! Chat! Hi, chat.
After this question, we're going to address some of y'all in chat, so y'all stand by. Yeah. So, how did you get into streaming, and what do your parents think about your decision to become a full-time streamer?
Full-time streamer. Wow. Okay, so I'm COVID baby.
Yeah, COVID baby.
I basically, a lot of other streamers. I've been playing video games since I was a kid. So like I've yeah.
What games have you been playing since you were a kid?
I used to be on like console. So like Tekken, Street Fighter,
PlayStation.
PlayStation. And then did some PC games when I was younger, like Call of Duty.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, Dota. Okay, sorry. Dota, and then what else? Minecraft. I was big on Minecraft.
Yeah.
And then eventually I got exposed to like Apex Legends.
Yes.
So I was like, oh, I want to get my own computer so I can play Apex Legends, right? And I was pretty much gonna be in Singapore. I knew at that point, like flying, I was not gonna fly at least for the next year and a half. So okay, I decided to get myself a PC, and PCs it was during the National Day sale. I bought my PC because it was a bit cheaper. So I got my PC and I was like, okay, it came, just stream. I have been exposed to streaming before. Not me streaming, but like I've seen people stream for a little bit. I don't know much about the space, but I've seen it. And I was like, okay, why not try on my own?
Yeah.
So that's how I started. And then before I knew it, it was a very wonky journey. Everything just started blowing up here and there. And then eventually I started to see a lot of streaming like a job, not in a bad way, but in terms of like, okay, so now we have this, what am I going to do with this community? How do I want to grow it? How do I want to protect them? How do I want to engage them? And then with stream like content, like, oh, what can I try? Blah, blah, blah. So so I gave myself like a time period, like I say 3 months. I want to be sure I can be sustainable for X amount of dollars, doing things that are within my values. If I can keep this going, I will convert to full time. Yes, and so I gave myself those few months.
And you hit those targets.
Yes, and that was when I was still doing my full time work. Based in New York City. I was still doing my masters, and then in December I resigned, and January I was like the resignation period. So February was like my official first month as a full time streamer. By now my parents are kind of like, we kind of figured out our daughter is kind of like weird, you know? So they're kind of like, so I told them, like, I want to do full-time streaming. They're like, okay, you manage yourself, yeah? I'm like, yeah. Just be careful, yeah. So, you know, I have been financially independent for a while already.
Fantastic.
So it's kind of like, they just want to make sure I'm safe, and like they know the internet's scary, but at the same time, like I've shown them through like the past couple of years that, you know, I'm a big girl now. I can take care of myself. And if things will happen, I will make mistakes. But I have my strong foundation, right? My core to like guide me through that. So they're like hella supportive. Like I'll come home and they'll be like, "How's your stream?" Sorry, no. I mean, I stream from home. So like when I come out of my room, they're like, "How's your stream?" I'm like, "Stream's good. I did well. Yeah." Then like
So
they're really shy. I ask them to wave. Then chat like greets them. And, like Chat's very lovely.
Amazing.
So yeah. My parents are really very supportive of this, and they when people ask them, like relatives ask, they want to tell that I'm a streamer. So like I'll be like, you are me, right? And be like, oh, so what do you do? Oh, she's doing like the live. Then I'm like, I just let them speak because like it's like I guess they're excited.
They're your own hype people.
Yeah, they're my hype men. Yeah.
And you know what? You know you're successful if your Asian parents hype you.
Let's go.
Right? Think about it. Asian parents don't hype you. Right, they just hype you and be like, oh, this one, eat too much, you see gain weight, I eat too little, you see lose weight. You know, that kind of thing, right? They don't be like,
my parents are very supportive in that sense. Even when they have no idea what I'm doing, they try. They'll be like, yeah. Sometimes she does this. Then I'm like, I don't do that, but kind of. Then they're like, that I again educating my parents, right? Because it's like new world to them. And then they're like, I told them I was coming on this podcast. What's a podcast?
Oh my goodness.
Podcast is kind of like, then I was telling them, podcast. Then what? Then just to educate them, right? And then trust me, like next week they're gonna be like, she was on a podcast. I'm like, now y'all know. Yeah. So yeah.
Amazing. Okay, so now we'll move on to the next section. Yeah, which I think is section 2. Alester labeled this as authentic.
Okay.
Authentic. Yeah. So we went from unpredictable to authentic. Okay, so Denise said that she was afraid that no one was going to accept her for her, as she doesn't swear or act cute like the other female streamers that
Hey,
blew up.
no, not all female
Yeah,
streamers.
let's just
Okay.
put it that that was too much of a blanket statement. No, but you understand where I'm going with this. Basically, you don't swear, you don't act cute like some of the other streamers that exist out there. Yeah, some you we can't deny that some of them do that. Yeah, okay. So some of these female streamers blew up because of that, right? So have you ever been tempted to just be like everyone else? And do you think being authentic was a big part of your success?
Wow.
So there is a deeper question to this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think when I first started, I really kind of knew I wasn't going to be very much like I think the other streamers, particularly in Singapore. To start, people still don't think that this is how I speak.
Right.
But I think you guys like
100%.
pretty much know this is how I speak.
Over dinner, she
Yeah.
just sounded like this.
Yeah, like this is actually very much how I speak. My family just felt the importance of getting English right. That's not even like a proper sentence, like, but like, you know what I mean, like knowing how to speak the language well. So, and I don't know, I'm just not like a small and cute. I'm big and tall and awkward. So kind of like and just again, you know, I don't swear. I don't like I don't really scream unless it's a horror game, or I don't talk about things that other people might casually talk about. I'm just, and I talk about quite serious things sometimes.
Right.
Talk about careers, talk about mental health.
Yes.
Talk about all those kind of things. I don't even talk about relationships that much, to be honest. Maybe more recently, but when I first started, definitely not. And I was afraid that people would think I was boring. I still do think once in a while, when I'm on my bed, I'm like, wow, like, did I just bore people for like 4 hours? And I think that's more of like an insecurity on my own end. But I realized as I went along that people just enjoyed being there with me and with each other.
Right.
Huge emphasis of which with each other. It's a bit weird to say that I am authentic. Like I don't know what that means, right? What does it mean to be authentic?
I guess the easiest way to define it would be to be the sort of self you are, where you can sort of be proud of yourself as well. You know what I mean?
Oh,
like you can tell your 10-year-old self like, this is me, and like this is really me.
Oh,
you know what I mean?
That's
That's
a really cool way to phrase it. Then in that case, 100%.
That would mean that you're authentic.
Oh,
right?
Yeah,
if you can convince your 8-year-old, 10-year-old self that you are you, then you are you.
Yeah, and I am very much me.
Yes.
I am this person on stream, off stream. If you meet me on the street, I'm just like 10 times more shy.
Yeah.
But like I am who I am, everything, like my values, my beliefs. I'm not afraid to like share any of that. I think people, if I be very objective, I think that's not very common in society.
It is not actually.
Yeah, it's not common to find people who are maybe so in tune with themselves.
Right.
I am not 100% in tune myself.
Yeah.
No way. But I think I am relatively aware of who I am and what I would like to do with my life and what I want to do for people.
Yes.
And I think people enjoy that. I don't know why. Like chat, I don't know why y'all are here. Like, you know, like
no, I think your viewers catch on that. And I think like being authentic is something like you mentioned, because it's starting to become a scarce resource. So being able to be authentic and being able to deliver something that people still enjoy, I think that's commendable. That's great.
Yeah, I try my best, I guess. Going into like streaming and like the entertainment industry was a very scary move, especially when you want to talk about, you know, being like authentic and being yourself. Entertainment industry, but the entertainment industry only, you know, maybe takes in certain things. Like they only want people who are like this, and there's a lot of networking. Like if you have the connections, or if you think like that, or if you smoke, maybe if you drink more, you will get into the particular. It's happened everywhere. It's like happened.
There's a lot of like vice access. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I am none of that. right? And does that mean I might lose out on certain things? Sure, but I don't mind.
You don't mind losing out those things.
I don't. I'm okay with that. So I'm just really happy that I have been able to come to terms with that, because I was very afraid to go into streaming and going to full time, knowing that it's a very secular space, and that is something that I really struggled with. Like even now, I still struggle to say like I'm a full time streamer. Like I don't know what that means, and I don't know like what that. Yeah, I don't know what that means. I don't know. So but every day I'm trying to figure out how to better grow this little community that we have, and I realized that just when I'm honest is when we are the closest. When I'm the most vulnerable is when we are the closest. And I've always kept that very close with me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that has once again paid dividends for you, because I think on the internet, people don't dare to be themselves because it makes them vulnerable in a space that's really volatile sometimes.
Yeah.
People can hate you for no reason. People can like you for no reason. It's so volatile, and that's why like they respect people who are authentic. Yeah, man. Kudos to you.
Thanks.
Good job. Let's move on to our next question, yeah?
Sure.
So Denise has been doing many IRL streams,
Yes.
bringing along her audience for photo shoots and even a Valentine's Day date.
Oh no.
Do you think, okay, here comes the
alive
question. Here comes the question. Do you think there is a limit to how much one reviews online? Of course you do, right? And by extension, how authentic people should be online? Because we just mentioned about how authenticity is really important, right?
Yeah.
It's a scarce resource, right? So do you think there's a limit to authenticity?
Wow. I think if I follow your definition, then no. But I think how people might not recognize this, but how you execute things is actually very important. It doesn't mean you are more like a fake than another person,
right?
But like how I go on with my conversations, how I go on with particular topics. I definitely have opinions on everything and anything, just like any other person.
For sure.
But what I choose to allow on social media is I'm very critical about that.
Right.
I'm very critical about what I allow to stay in the digital world, knowing how volatile and easy it is for people to take anything that I say out of context, and to use it against me whenever they want. Because like you said, there are people who like you, people who really hate you for no reason, because they think they know who you are, or they and then they try to do things or get back at you, or you're not happy about something. So I don't think there's a limit to how authentic or like you can be on the internet, but it's like, I guess, how you do it.
Yeah. Right?
Different people show it differently.
Yes.
I was very scared of doing IRLs because Singapore is so small.
Yeah.
And like it's so easy to get like doxed.
Ah, yes.
Right.
For sure.
And unfortunately, this is more of a concern with females.
Definitely.
Yeah.
100% over the internet. I think women have it slightly worse in certain aspects on the internet.
Yeah, so it's very scary, and even thankfully, again, I have a very loving and very supportive chat.
You do.
Yes.
More power to you.
So even if they know where I am, they will be like, oh, I know where you are. And then they just got like, and then that's it. But they don't
great.
like guys. She's like, and I make sure I keep those values in check in chat as well. Right? It's all about, setting the foundation you want for the community you're trying to build. So I tell them like, hey, you might know where I am. Please don't dox.
Yeah, for sure.
And stuff like that. The Valentine's Day stream, since you touched on it, is a very is a very special stream that was not planned. Okay, I need to emphasize it's not planned. So if you want to talk about authentic, you got like you got the most real it could have been, right? Basically, it was another streamer who basically wanted to ask me for Valentine's Day. He did a presentation deck, because everyone knows I love my Google Slides and my Google Forms. So he did a presentation deck on why not just me, but why me and chat should go out with him. Do you get what I mean?
I get it.
Yeah, so he's not just asking me out.
Yeah.
He's asking chat.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
That's so creative.
So I was like, okay. And on hindsight, right? Really not that smart of me, because like I literally just gave another person full ability for that 15, like I looked through the slides for an hour because I'm a huge staller.
Yeah.
So we looked at the slides and he could have put dirty photos in there. And I would have not known, right? Because I've never seen the slides.
Absolutely, yeah.
But first of all, I know him, like not I didn't know him in real life, but like we met on stream and we've spoken, and I know he's like not
a creep.
Yeah, but it's hard to tell nowadays, right?
It's true.
So he kind of passed the creep test, kind of. And then so he did the slides. So I was like, okay, thankfully, nothing crazy.
Yeah.
It was actually really, really fun. I think Chat enjoyed it a lot as well. And Chat voted yes before I could say anything. So Chat peer pressured me. No, I'm just kidding. But like basically, so I went on the Valentine's date with him. And like I mentioned, because I stream Tuesdays, Thursdays, Sundays.
Yes.
So I was like, yeah, I don't mind, but we have to bring Chat. No compromise. It has to be something that Chat can come along with.
Yeah.
And he took that into so much consideration.
Oh my goodness, that's so sweet.
Very, 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 very kind. And it was a really good time. Chat really, I think Chat enjoyed it a lot as well. And it showed me actually that those kind of streams, like
has value.
Has a lot of value. And when we ended the stream, it was kind of like, wow, that didn't feel tiring at all.
Oh, that's so nice.
You know, it was like such a good time, and Chat had such a good time, and we had such a good time, and it was great. So yeah.
Awesome. So no limits on being authentic, you know?
I don't think there's
even
limits.
her love life with, well, of course, you bring along the naggy parent Chat along, but yeah. Okay, next question that we have for you.
Yes.
Denise uploaded a YouTube video in 2016 named Transient, where she reflected about her year in 2016 and confided on how tumultuous the year was for her.
Wow.
Has being raw and real become easier for you now as compared to 2016 when you posted that video?
Wow. Did I tell Lester that I had that video? Lester, did I tell you?
He is dangerous, that's all I'm saying.
Digged. I love that video. Thank you.
Don't be surprised if he knows, like, oh, you know, who's the supplier for the
earrings.
Yeah, the emote earrings. Yeah.
Oh, I'm not surprised if he would know. So to give a bit of context, 2016 was a very tough. In my young life, right? How challenging can life be for us? To be honest, I'm sure we're very blessed.
But it can get pretty tough.
It can. But like, you know, I also like to think like I have a house, I can eat what I want to eat. I think life is like God is good.
Could be worse.
Could be very worse.
Yeah.
But for my young little soul, life was pretty like then. I do a lot of writing. I used to do a lot of writing. I used to like have a blog and like I would like write things in it.
Okay.
And so I was reflecting on that year, and I was like, okay, why not try and make a video?
Yes.
I remember as I wrote wrote out what I wanted to share, it was actually really negative. And like this year was like trash, and like like this happened and that happened. And then I was like, okay, I wrote it all out and I was like, okay, let's reframe it. And then I wrote what became Transient.
Yes.
And I posted it with no expectation of anything. But the return was insane. The amount of times people have told me how that video has motivated them or encouraged them to look more positively or to try new things, and basically it was just good. Like they really enjoyed the video, and I was like, wow, I will never be able to make anything like Transient ever again. And so I haven't.
Why not?
Yeah, I'm so basically
in 2 words or less.
Yeah.
Oh, no, in 1 sentence or less.
My self-limiting insecurity of not being able to make anything better than that.
Oh man, I thought I had a really punny answer, like because the feeling was transient.
Oh my goodness. Oh, fun fact, I actually chose Transient because my pastor was talking about how life was transient.
Right.
And that was the day I was filming it. I was like, wow, transient, such a beautiful word. I shall add it in.
It is transient.
Yeah.
For those of you that don't know the meaning of transient, I have quickly Googled it. Adjective.
Wait,
lasting
did you seriously Google?
Only a short time.
Oh.
Impermanent.
Yes.
Transient.
So life is transient.
It is. It really is.
And
here today, gone tomorrow.
Exactly. And that video was celebrating that life is transient. Because it's so easy to be like, oh, another day gone, you know, like Sag, like that's it, right? But I wanted it to be like, look at how much we've done.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so the video ended up being a celebration of all the things I did that year that I forgot about just because I was so overwhelmed with my sadness of like how trash this year was. But wait, there's always opportunity even in what is not good, right? Yes, in adversity, exactly. And so that was basically what transient was. Again, TLDR, like the reason why I didn't do anything like that is because I just felt like I could never write like that again. I felt like as I grew older, I might have gotten better with speaking, but I've gotten a lot lousier with writing my emotions down.
Right.
So I lost quite a bit of that.
Yeah. No regrets though?
If I could, I would do it again.
Oh?
100%. But that video is the best it will ever be. If you give me all the resources to remake that video, it would never be as good. Yeah, I know that for a fact. Like that's it. That's it for transient.
But now, because like you mentioned about how there's a shift in skill set in that aspect, right? Do you think that being raw and real has become easier?
Oh yes, I'm sorry I didn't answer the
question.
No,
that's fine. That's fine. That's what I'm here for. Has it become easier for you? Because it takes a certain kind of metal to be raw and real with yourself, especially on the internet.
100%.
Yeah. So do you think this has become easier for you?
Yes, a lot easier.
And what would you like attribute that to? Is it just transient or things that what are some milestones?
When I was really young, I used to do vlogs. They're all privated now. Don't try. I used to do vlogs as a way to reflect.
Right.
So
like a video journal.
Yes, like YouTube, literally. Right. Like, hi guys, today I'm going to do this, blah, blah, blah. Or I come home from school, literally secondary school in my uniform. Like, guys, what do you think about? Like, I would talk to I would do that. And it goes all the way back to when I was a kid. And I'll be a bit more open, a bit more honest. I had my family had like our own struggles growing up together, and so I didn't get to spend a lot of time with my parents. And I guess as a young kid, that's like all you want from your parents, right? You just want their attention. So I used to write in a diary. I would write every day. I have 5 of these, so 5 years. I write in a diary about my day. Can be good, can be bad. Secondary school, like, oh, this person liked me, like like basically. But I would always give my diary to my mom to read it.
Oh.
And she would write notes in it and pass it back to me.
Like spelling error check that kind of.
No, like she would comment like, it's good that this happened, or glad that you are thinking like this.
That's so wholesome.
Because that was the only way we could spend time together.
I see.
Because of what was happening in our family and from a very young age I had to learn to grow up and to learn how to manage my own emotions. And this was one of the ways that was like kind of like holding hands with my mom in that sense. This the book. So I really enjoyed a little bit of that. And I think she had like a lot of little notes in it that I might have forgotten now, but I'm very sure are the reason of why I'm who I am today. Because, she would tell me like, I would be hella honest, like, this girl didn't like me and try to like, turn me against me. I really don't like her. And my mom would like, and I'll just like, I casually give the book to my mom, right? And my mom would be like, it's okay, but and then she would like respond back as nice. Little or as much as she can, right? Because she's also busy. She's working. She has to take care of my family.
Yeah.
But I think that was really the seed that made everything else happen. Why I decided to do YouTube videos, because then videos was a way I could communicate with my parents. I would make like birthday videos for my mom for her birthday, and then eventually writing on blogs was another way of expressing. She could read it anytime she wants. And then eventually more people started reading it. So I think I was exposed to social media really young as well. So then I learned like people can see everything. So then I got a bit more cautious of like what is out there, but still being authentic in that sense. So yeah.
Fantastic. Awesome. This actually leads us to our next section, section 3.
I'm so great.
Right, because he actually conveniently named the third section transient.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, either he's really clever or, we need to get more creative. So please get us a creative director. Okay, in transient. Okay, so question 7, right? In the YouTube video transient, Denise said, quote,
wow.
There are points where I had lost my direction, people I loved, my hope, my confidence, and eventually I had lost myself along the way, end quote. Was 2016 a year of self-discovery? And what have you learned from that year?
Yikes. Come on, you called the video?
He is dangerous.
Wait, can I just say my writing was so pretentious? Like I was like a little kid trying to like be those like
You know
those
what?
YouTubers.
But you know what? We were all once little kids feeling things.
Yeah.
You just kind of put it in video form.
Yeah, I guess so. Wow. A lot of things happened in 2016.
Yeah.
I can't really exactly remember. I don't know if it's like
Yeah.
a defense mechanism of mine to forget
Right.
things. The big thing that did happen that year was that I got cheated on.
Oh.
And I was like, yeah, whatever, right? But like, yeah, I got like cheated on back then. So that was like really difficult. That was the first time I actually went to the hospital because of a panic attack that
Oh,
happened
goodness.
in public. And
Yeah.
just all those things just don't sound nice together. Panic attack, public hospital. Like just, so it's just a bunch of these things that happened that year. And I think a bit happened at home as well. Yeah. So I guess that's the reason for that sentence. But that year was, it's so funny because I remember saying in transient like how much I wanted to learn how to love uncertainty.
Yeah.
Because essentially that was what 2016 was. Hella uncertain, right?
No, and like that sentence itself is actually a really challenging one, which I need to give you credit for thinking of it that young, because as human beings we are not programmed to love uncertainty.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah, and like having that thought for yourself is something that I think is respectable.
Thank you. Yeah.
Good job.
So like I just really wanted to that year really taught me how to embrace the uncertainty of everything. That every single damn thing is transient. What I mean by that, from the relationship that I was in to the feelings I felt being cheated on, from having the panic attacks, from being in the hospital, everything was transient. Everything came and went. And instead of focusing so much on the fact that it arrived, I wanted to focus on the fact that it was past, and then focus on what I had learned. So that was really where I was driving at with that video.
Yeah.
And then and also reminding myself that actually my mentality towards life is one of the only things that will stay constant, right?
It is.
And that will guide me through all of the challenges regardless of what happens. So that was transient. I'm sorry, I don't really remember exactly what happened that year.
Yeah.
But the years after that were hella dope, man.
Hella dope. Hella dope. No, but it's great. As in like, I think it's once again it's really highly commendable that like through a year where there's a lot of struggle, you managed to pick out the right approach to your struggles, which I would say you would attribute it back to your core, your faith. Perfect.
Everything to my core.
Nice.
And
All
my
right,
mom.
next question.
Hi, mom.
Hi, mom. and your little notes in her diary.
Yes.
Okay, in 2020, Denise wrote on an Instagram post, I quote,
Wow.
"Life is so transient, and I am so grateful for God's strength throughout every single moment of my life.
You called my Instagram?
I have never been happier and more excited for a brand new year." End quote. How has your opinion about the transience of life changed from 2016 till now?
What? I know what Instagram post that was. I think I know what Instagram post that was.
Yeah.
Transient has literally become my favorite word. Like ever since I did.
Well, to be
transient
fair,
video.
it's a pretty good word.
Yeah, it's a very pretty word.
It's a very pretty word.
Very
It sounds,
pretty word.
And like to the uninitiated, it sounds really intellectual.
Yeah, like haha, transient.
It's
Like just like
transient.
yeah, you wanna like just sound like cool.
Yeah.
Transient.
Yeah, man.
And just like walk away.
Yeah.
So how is my approach? How is
The question would be, right, how has your opinion about the transience of life, right, changed from then till now?
I would say that
Or has it not changed?
I would say it's become it's ingrained in me now.
Right.
So it's something that it's become like a bit like I wouldn't say my mentality, but like my perspective maybe. I feel like life moves a bit like the transience happens a lot faster now. In the past, I would like mull on things a lot longer. But now when things happen, like big things, not small things, big things happen to me, big changes, I have that moment of sadness or grief or whatever. But I move on a lot quicker, and I move on a lot better and faster and stronger. To the point where like I could have gone through like a really serious like health situation and no one would know because like
you move on from that.
Yeah, because like I recognize how transient life is, why life is so transient,
Yeah.
right? And then what my purpose is in the midst of all of it. So I just like, and then we just go, right? So like, we just keep going. So I'm sure it's changed, but I can't, I don't know how to phrase it.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I know it's just something that I am very aware of.
Right. But the first thing off the top of your head will be that you've found your footing more in that aspect, in that philosophy.
Yeah.
In that personal mantra.
Yeah. And like, like when bad things happen,
Yes.
maybe in the past I would be very obsessed or like over the fact that something bad has happened. But right now when bad things happen to me, I'm like, yeah, like
they happen.
Next week, like 30-year-old me is gonna like say this is a good opportunity to learn, right? Like 16-year-old me had no idea I was gonna talk about transient the video so much in like a podcast, right? But now it's like become such a big learning point for me.
To be fair, early 2016-year-old you didn't even know transient was gonna be a thing.
Exactly, right? So my mind just thinks like that now, like, oh, like a few years from now, like this might be a moment of great learning. This might be a great moment to share my experiences. And I think that way right now. So when I was going through really difficult times in 2020, I knew like one day I'm gonna be able to share this story well to other people to help them. So maybe that's how the transience of life has helped me. I don't know, but like I feel like it's molded my my approach to life a lot more.
So you have like a very forward-thinking mindset that makes you, I don't know, if I understand this correctly, it's as if you are your own bad example. And yet you are also your own good example in that sense. Yeah, when you recount things.
Yeah. It's like
Fantastic.
I always tell this to people, and I think Chad will know this as well, that I wouldn't mind if bad things happen to me than to, for example, you.
Right.
Because I know that if something bad happens to me, I have my core to help me through.
Right.
Right. And I would use it as an opportunity to show the good in times of bad. Whereas if like it happens to you and like if you are mentally not able to cope with it and stuff like that, it's very difficult. Like I don't want you to go through that.
Exactly.
So sometimes I like to say that recently in my chat even we got spammed some really like I think what is crude, like really crude images in my chat, and it was non-stop, and it was it's not a pleasant experience, right? Because someone is like sabotaging you. But I said like I told my chat like, I'm happy that it happened to me, so now we know how to handle it together.
Yeah.
If it happens on someone else's chat, you know how to help that streamer, right? If something were to happen, and what if they're smaller, like. How, and what if they panic? What if they freak out? You know? So it was like a learning experience for all of us, and I was happy to, in that sense, take the bullet. But actually, it's just more of looking at it from an opportunity to share, right?
Absolutely. I think I appreciate it. I appreciate your sentiment. I would like to say that I also share a similar philosophy in that aspect to you, in the sense that like I don't take bad things as like, oh no, like this is my lot in life, that kind of thing. And I think I don't let that get to me. And I try to use that to improve myself if possible.
Yes.
And I think this is something that is a rare commodity. So more power to you. Okay, so we'll move on to the last question from this segment before we move back to chat.
Yay!
Okay. Denise also said, I quote, "We aren't made to understand everything. We were made to be uncertain." End quote. What do you want to say to people who are afraid of how much life changes and are anxious for the future?
It's
getting really philosophical right now.
I'm not a philosophical person. I can't even pronounce the word. But I don't know, when I was told that we humans were not made to understand everything.
Right.
If we knew everything, then we'd be gods, right? That's literally what
that's
I
true.
said in the video. And I don't know, I just found it comforting to know that there's so many things in the world that we don't understand. The human mind only gets to a certain point, and that is still not everything.
It is.
It will never be everything.
Yeah.
And that really motivated me to try everything. Because in this entire life that I live, I will never get to do everything. But I want to make sure that I've done everything that like I'm interested in, that I'm passionate about. make sure that I do it to the best that I can, right? Not just doing it like sluggishly. And I had that approach, especially in poly, in school. Like I wanted to make sure like when I did my work, I did it well.
Yeah.
You know, I enjoyed learning. There weren't really exams, so I didn't have that exam issue. But even if it was like doing a paper, I want to make sure I did it well. Wanted to make and I wanted to make sure that, you know, it's something that I'm happy to have done.
Yeah.
So the question was if
the question would be because you have a really, I want to say, certain personal compass when it comes to these kind of things. So the question would be, right, what would you say to people who are afraid of how life changes, or rather people who are overwhelmed? What's one piece of advice you would give to them?
Overwhelmed with
if they are
change?
anxious for the future? Right, because you mentioned that how you make yourself comfortable with uncertainty, but not everyone's like that, right?
Yes, of course.
So what's one piece of advice you would give to someone who is feeling overwhelmed because of the uncertainty?
Wow, I don't know if there's like a one answer, but I would love to know why. I think the why, once you know why people are uncertain, why they're afraid of the uncertainty, then I'll be able to help them a lot more. Some people are afraid to lose something. Yeah, for sure. Whether it's money, pride, you know, people. Then you've got to ask yourself, like, why do you want to, like, why does that matter so much in the first place? A lot of the times it's really that, it's that small shift, you know, sometimes all you just need to poke at the person. Yeah. And they're like, oh, actually it's not that scary. So yeah, for sure. My very vague advice is to know why you do things. Right. Or to try and understand why you do the things that you do, or why you feel the way that you do. Right. When you are more in touch with that side of yourself, then you'll be able to face your own emotions a lot better. So I think I don't know if that helps. I'm trying to think of like a more like a tangible piece of advice.
Or maybe something that you apply to yourself. Is there something that you actively apply to yourself that you can tell someone who might be struggling? Well,
the thing that I always tell myself is, if I don't do it, then I will regret it. So my most recent example is my mentorship program, CATDOJO, that I started for streamers.
Tell us a bit more about CATDOJO for our YouTube videos.
So basically, CATDOJO is a mentorship program that I've created to help streamers, whether in Singapore, locally, or internationally, to grow their streams effectively. And I like to say it's to help you understand how to be a better streamer and human being. I think what I try to teach is purely from my experiences building startups and building communities, and also from stream and what I've done through streaming. I was so reluctant to do it. I was like, why? Oh my goodness, I don't even know how to share the anxiety I felt from wanting to do it, because I have never done anything like that. For myself. So I've you'll be like, well, but you built companies, right? But that's for someone else. That's another person. Like, I'm helping that person, right? But this one is mine. The only person that can hold me accountable is me. The only person that will make this work is me. So nobody else. I'm doing this alone, and it's hella scary, right? And transient falls into that same category. I did transient for me, for no one else. But that also means that there's a higher chance I don't do it, because if I don't do it, nobody gets hurt.
You're not accountable to anyone.
Exactly. Right. So that was CATDOJO for me, and there were so many nights. I remember I did workshops as well to test the waters, and I remember I was planning the content, and I was like, why did I do this? Like, I am not the person to be doing this. Who am I to run a workshop on streaming, on mentoring? Like, why? Like, why do I think I can do this? And then I try to like I told you, try to like apply what I shared, right? And we're like, why not? Like, and then I realized it was a lot of insecurity with myself, the inability to see what I have been able to do. I'll be very honest, until today, I don't think I am very good at this. And I don't know why I can't really see it, but that's me being very honest. But yeah, I was like, if I don't do CATDOJO now, I will never do it.
Yeah.
and it will go away, just like all the other ideas I had.
That
will
went
never,
away.
Yes, and it will just go away.
Yeah.
And then you have to live with the fact that you didn't do another transient part 2. You didn't do
Uh-huh.
another you didn't do your CATDOJO, and I was like, yeah, okay, let's just try. And that
Yeah.
was essentially what I did. I just tried, put it out there, made a website, sat back. I was like, nobody's gonna sign up, and then like shriveled into my bed, and then and then suddenly like there were interviews, like, and then now we're at like this part, and now I have to be accountable to the
Yes.
people that have signed up, to the
Yeah.
people who are here, my mentees, my 3 existing mentees. I'm
Yeah.
accountable to them, and I guess it makes it easier for me because now I know I'm accountable to people as compared to just myself. But I could have easily have never done it.
Yeah.
Nobody's lives would have changed, and I
Yeah.
think that's what I don't like. I want to change lives.
Ah.
Yeah.
Well, that was actually really insightful because I think the whole point where you reach a certain point in your life where you ask yourself why not instead of why was a very, very, very important step, I guess, for people to take to overcome certain barriers that they set for themselves.
Mm-hmm.
Especially like how you mentioned, a lot of these times these kind of expectations are set for yourself by yourself. Right? And if you forget to ask yourself why not, you're just gonna be like, why? And either you do nothing about it or you paralysis by analysis and also end up doing nothing about it.
Yeah, exactly. So
Got you. We'll move on to our next section, which is section 4.
Wow.
Okay. Section 4 is titled Lonely.
Ooh.
Well, this took a turn, yeah? But it's okay, energy up. So Denise said that secondary school was the toughest point in her life. And that she got bullied a lot for her loud personality that rubbed people off the wrong way. Oh no. Okay. Firstly, tell us more about this situation. And secondly, how did you manage to keep being who you are despite the bullying?
Wow. Secondary school was like dark times.
Dark times.
But I owe all of my growth
Yeah.
to my secondary school days. So I
Uh-huh.
think I faced like the worst of the worst case of social interactions in secondary school.
Right.
And it prepared me for poly.
Ah,
So when I got like bullied in poly or anything like that, I knew
you took it in stride.
yeah, like it was like I've been through worse. This is okay. The main thing, there was like one big main thing that happened throughout my my secondary school life.
Right.
And I just want to like give a disclaimer that it's all over.
It's over, but I mean, this is factual stuff that we're sharing so
Yeah,
that we know her story.
I mean, like it's all in the past, right?
Right,
And
right.
I will come back to that.
Okay.
But basically in secondary school, specifically, there was this particular girl that didn't really
Vibe.
like me
Right.
very much. She's in the same age as me, so same year. And for some reason she just kind of made it her life mission to make my life really difficult. So
Like, what are some things that happened?
so she would like tell like all the seniors things about me, right? And the problem was I was so young that I didn't know how to respond to a lot of the things that she was saying. So it kind of fed to her narrative, which on hindsight is genius for her, by the way. Like hella smart that she knew how to do that so young. But like, because I didn't know how to respond to all the things she was saying to me, so I reacted.
Right.
I was like angry. I was like, ugh. I was like, and then it made the seniors like, oh yeah, she's not a good person.
Yeah.
I remember like the times where the seniors would like I would have 6 seniors sit with me at a table and tell me how bad of a person I am.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, and I was like in lower secondary school, so I was like 14, right? And so many times like I would like go home crying or have no friends and have no one to talk to, and because I've pretty much spoken like this for a big part of my life, like this. I was also not liked in school because people called me fake. They were like, "Oh, why you got Angmo accent?" You know, like they'll be like, "Oh, why do you speak like that?"
Yeah.
And people, "Oh, you're just trying to be someone else. Oh, you're so fake." And so, especially like in the normal academic space where everyone's like
like this lah.
yeah, right. So
lor.
I didn't have friends there as well. So I basically just didn't have friends. Full stop, right? Just constantly trying to find people that I could connect with, and I would think I find people and then they just end up not liking me as well. And it was a very difficult first year, second year kind of situation. And actually it was in my second year of secondary school that I got to know God.
Yeah.
So I'm not born from like a Christian house or anything.
Right.
I only met Alex. I met him like halfway. Wait, so
You're just like, Hey yo,
Yeah,
I'm
it's
here.
like kind of like we just kind of like showed up like and that was really where it is gonna sound so cliche, but it's really the truth where my entire life changed from
Yeah.
that point on.
Right.
So I started to see things a lot differently, and I remember in the Bible in Matthew's chapter 5, I think it's basically like a paragraph talking about not to judge people. If someone slaps you on the right cheek, you turn to the left and give them your left cheek. And obviously not to be taken literally, but that really showed me like, yeah, let me keep that close to me.
Yeah.
So I had that, and I had that really close to me, but I was still going through all of the hate from various people, especially that girl that was trying to make my life very miserable, as miserable as it can get for a secondary school kid, right? She didn't steal from me, no. Just more of like social side of things, and then the test came. Okay, like the life test. So there would be moments in like our secondary school journey where she would say, "Oh, we're friends now. Like we've made up. Like we're all good." Because if we didn't make up as friends, the teachers wouldn't give us leadership positions.
Oh,
right?
Because it was like big enough that everyone knew.
Yes, that's how big it was. So the teachers were like, "Y'all can't get along, so one of you will not be in the exco for the prefectorial board." And back then, the prefectorial board was my life, man. I was like, "Are you serious?" And like she was trying to like run for it as well. So I remember there was like one day we like shook hands. She's like, "Oh, we're all fine." She was not fine with me, not at all. And we were in the same theater club as well. So like like we just a lot of close interactions. And then one day it came where we were both nominated for this camp where you go to like Nghi An for like 4 days and 3 nights. It's like it's like a camp. It's like a leadership camp.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh man, I just don't even want to be close to her at this point. And then I find out, oh, we're in the same group because there's like different groups. We're in the same group. I'm like, okay, right. And then after that, I find out we're in the same room. We're going to be rooming together for the whole week. And I just cried at the podium of like my school. And I remember messaging my mom. I was like, I have to room with her. And there was a lot of anxiety, a lot of fear. But the immediate thing that ran through my mind after that was, Matthew's 5, if she slaps you, let her turn around and slap the other side. I was kind of like...
Speaking of Matthew's 5.
Yeah.
Matthew's 5 verse 39. Okay? But I tell you, do not resist an evil person. If anyone slaps you on the right cheek, turn to them the other cheek also.
Yeah. So I was kind of like, oh my goodness, why? I was like, like out of everything, like this, like it's not, I don't, but I know I should not question why God does the things that he did, but I definitely questioned at that point. I was like, why did you put me in the same room as her? There's so many other girls, so many other people. Like, so I had so many things, but just Matthew's 5 just like kept going through my head, and I was like, okay, you know what, just gonna try. Like there's nothing I can do, right? Am I gonna back out of it? Hell nah, because this is my opportunity, right? I'm not gonna crumble. But it was the most challenging week. Basically, I told myself, no matter what happens, I will let her do anything and everything she wants. I basically don't step on her toes, right? So we're in the same room. The room only has 2 beds, and the other one is just a mattress on the floor. Before we can even say anything, I just say, I take the mattress. I ain't gonna fight, right? Because first of all, that's the conversation of who's gonna get the bids, and then another conversation of who takes the bottom, who takes the top. I just know I'm gonna take the mattress because it's uncomfortable, it's on the floor. And things like very small, minute things like, oh, she wants to go to the shower first, go ahead. If she wants this, go ahead, do that, do this. The only thing I never really compromised on was I guess the opportunities that was given to me during the program. It was all the same anyway. But I remember during that camp, on the last day of that camp, she actually messaged me, and she said, I'm not as bad. She said to me like that I'm not as bad as a person as she thinks I am, which I don't know where she got that from. And then she said, I forgive you. I was like, and in my mind I was like, what are you forgiving me for? I didn't do anything to you. But I was just celebrating because I finally felt like she actually meant it. And it felt like a war had ceased, right? Like the war was over. Like it didn't matter if she forgave me. Like I don't care. Like the fact is that it feels like it's over. And fast forward, we are actually really good friends today, and she's probably one of the people that will be at my wedding.
Oh, that's so sweet.
Yeah, so we after that whole thing, we actually became really good friends. Really, really, really good friends, even onto poly, and like even though we're not close, like we're not super close, we don't talk all the time, but we know we're always there for each other. I've surprised her at her house with my mom for her birthday like twice over the few years. And it just showed me like it was a lot, right? Because that meant that I had to also forgive everything that she had done to me. Because it was tough, man. It was not easy, right?
Yes.
But I didn't think that that was as important as trying to possibly make a friend.
Right.
And I have asked her, you know, like,
Yeah,
I'll be
what
like,
was it?
Yeah,
right?
I'll be like, hey, I was like, hey, so why didn't you like me? She has never answered that question. Yeah, and I don't force her to.
You know what? Secondary school things.
No, yeah, and there could be a lot of reasons, right? Anyone could speculate, anyone can assume, but it's not my place.
Yeah.
And to be honest, it's okay, man. I mean, we are all young and we're all like trying to figure ourselves out. That was her time of exploration. And again, like I told you from the very beginning, all of that became this experience for me to share to other people and to learn from. So it's crazy. Like I remember I would always tell her, wow, like, or like in like Instagram posts, when I post of like photos with her, I'm like, this friendship is so strange.
Surreal.
And, and she won't shy away from that. She knows it's a very odd friendship, but it doesn't matter. The fact is that we are friends now.
Yeah, it's behind you.
Yeah, so
fantastic.
I went on a spiel that was so long. I'm so naggy. I'm so sorry.
No, you're fine. Don't worry about it.
That's what podcasts are.
Yeah, that's what podcasts are. You know what? You more of these kind of stories actually. You know why I like podcasts? Let me tell you why. Okay, when we get people on to share these kind of stories, right? It may not relate to everyone, but there may just be that one person who might be listening who needed that.
Oh, yeah.
So you're doing good.
Thank you.
Yeah.
But
so okay, in that, following that vein, right? So what's one piece of advice I want you? This is my own personal question. Yeah. So what's one piece of advice you would give to someone who's being bullied?
Not to be taken literally, but if they slap you on the right, turn to the left and let them slap you on the left cheek. And basically what I got from that verse is basically to be humble, right? Humble yourself. And I think what really helped me was knowing that she was just as lost with herself as I was. All of my bullies were lost. I've had let's fast forward to poly.
Yeah.
I've literally been bullied because I am flat-chested. And I'm like, you are in poly and we are having this kind of conversation.
It's kind of mean.
Yeah, and I mean, I love who I am, right? You know, like I wasn't so affected by the fact that she said, like she called out a fact. I was more affected by the fact that people actually like laughed and like what is this? What are we? Right?
Yeah.
Kids? Like but like my bullies would show their dislike for me. But the truth is that I've never done anything to my bullies for them to actually, factually, logically
have something
dislike
against
me.
you, right?
Yeah. And they don't like that. They don't like that. They don't like that I'm a clean slate.
I guess in a roundabout way, they're the ones who are hurt. They're the ones who are lost.
And I think I keep that in mind. So I don't go out to make their lives miserable.
Yeah, for sure.
But I try to show kindness as much as I can. And I think if we have the ability to show kindness in any moment, in any point of our lives, we should. So I guess that's my advice. Just, humble yourself. If you see like they need help with something, help them. If they take it the wrong way, so be it. I've been taken, people have taken things, I don't know how to explain it, but like basically it's just
taken it the wrong way.
Yeah, right. People have
misread your intentions.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, like they've misread my intentions, but I don't care. I just, if I want to help and if I manage to, yay, and then that's it. And most of the people who've bullied me have nothing against me anymore. Like you just run out of things.
It's true. You can't have. I mean, I believe in the phrase "kill them with kindness." Because when you're nice and kind to someone, like, how long can this person stay angry at you for nothing?
Yeah.
Right. it's just not logical.
Yeah.
It doesn't happen. And I think that's kind of my approach to some of like this, the hate I get sometimes, which is normal.
Yeah,
you know?
unfortunate. Especially if we want to put ourselves out there.
When we
right?
exist on the internet,
Yeah.
hate comes your way.
No matter
And-
what.
Yeah, and like, let me just, I just want to share an anecdote because you brought up the whole point about body and stuff like that, right?
Yeah.
So personally, the first YouTube comment I've ever received, and I'm very open about this, the first YouTube comment I ever received on TSL,
Mm-hmm.
okay, was back when I was like 4 years ago. Someone made a comment about my teeth, right? So they were like, wow, the guy in the sweater, his teeth cap so big, can play block catching. So I had a good laugh about it, but this used to be a thing that I was really insecure about.
Mhm.
So I'm born with 8 missing teeth.
Wow.
And as a result of that, right, my teeth are evenly aligned, and that's why
That's so cool.
you see the
Wow,
gaps.
okay.
Yeah. So a habit of mine that has formed is that I don't even do it intentionally, but I do this sideways thing where I smile sideways, I talk sideways.
Oh.
I used to be really self-conscious about it. But it has reached a point where it doesn't matter to me anymore.
Yeah.
And sometimes when people bring up like, oh, why does he talk sideways? Right?
Wow, yeah,
And
yeah,
then-
yeah.
And then I'll just be like, oh, I used to be really insecure. It's a bad habit. I can't get rid of it, but it's here. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think this is really useful because after you mention these kind of things, not like firstly, right? People can't be hating on you anymore. It's a thing, right? It's just a thing.
Yeah.
Right? What if I got into an accident, I lost a finger? That's just a thing.
Yeah.
Right?
Exactly.
And like, the people who actually are concerned about you or people who preserve your community, they actually stand up for you. And in
Yeah.
that kind of way, it makes you stronger because there's support for you.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's really, really, really cool, by the way. Like, thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, I'm cool with sharing all these things, but I do have 8 missing teeth, so that's always my fun fact when I share with people.
Wow.
Yeah, that's why I have like teeth gap and I smile
No
sideways.
reason why. Just
My mom just gave me a discount lah.
wow.
The health booklet, the dentist open, then they'll just cross. You know those dental health checkups,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, so
I have
cool.
many crosses on my dental health checkup.
That's why I kind of like dyeing my hair.
Right.
It's a little bit similar, but not really, right?
Right.
Initially, like I dye my hair for me.
Yeah.
But I realized that there was like a bigger reason.
What was the reason?
The reason was that I wanted to show people that just because you have dyed hair doesn't mean you are a particular person or a particular way. So people see me, they're like, wow, look at the alien on the street. And I'm like, hello, right? Like nothing like a alien or anything.
Yeah.
And my first hair color was red, like
Right.
straight out of secondary school. So I'm the straight up alien color after secondary school.
Yeah.
But then when you get to know me, you realize, and people always say this, you are nothing like what you look. And I have no idea what to make out of it. I'm like, so what does that mean? Like, did you expect me to be a certain way just because I wear like bright colors and I have like dyed hair? Or like, how did you expect me to look like? I get curious. I want to know, not in a challenging way, but it just, shifts people's mindset about what they should expect from people. And
Absolutely.
and like the world is, there's, shouldn't look at it based on certain things and
for sure.
assume, right? We're trying to, I'm trying to, in the small way that I can, by dyeing my hair, break that barrier for people. So same but different, I guess. I find it fun, like an opportunity to then reframe the question when people ask you and be like, why do you have X amount of teeth? And then you just see their face like, they're like, why you ask? Then I'm like, then why you ask? No, I'm just kidding. Like it's fun, right? Like just reframing the question and like challenging their minds. Of course. Yeah, so
that's a great approach to it. For me, I just straight up own out to me so people don't ask. Then they'll just be like, oh, I never noticed. I'm like, well, eventually I
you
believe...
kind of did, right?
Eventually I believe you would, so I'll just tell you right now.
I see. Well, I honestly didn't notice.
Thank you.
Just saying, like...
Thank you.
Yeah.
Teeth gap gang.
Gang.
Okay, so next question, we move on, okay? So, Denise worked in New York for the past, in the past for a while. Yeah?
I did.
Even had to go through an LDR.
Oh no.
Question is, okay?
No.
Did you ever feel lonely and how did you manage it? Okay, we didn't specifically go into the LDR, but now that's out of water, right? So like, did you ever feel lonely and how did you manage it?
Chat is so excited right now, trust me.
Chat is excited. You know what? I'm providing y'all chat with like so many exciting pieces of news. So yeah.
Okay, so I worked in New York back and forth for about 2 years.
Right.
I wasn't in New York all the time. So that's the joy of my job.
Right.
I
So it's
could come
all
back
in the USA. Or right. It's between Singapore and New York.
in New York City specifically. And I could I would be there for a bit and then I'll be back. So I'm not there for like an entire year.
Right.
I'm a very family person. I don't know how I would necessarily cope with that also, being being away from my family for so long. I never really felt lonely.
Oh.
Or
because of what?
I'm trying to reflect on it right now, right?
Yeah.
My time in New York was so busy that I didn't have time to be lonely.
Right.
Or I just knew how to deal, because I'll be very honest with you, but I don't want to go into too much information about my work, but it was incredibly difficult.
Right.
And very draining. And the work was lonely, I would say. But I didn't really feel like lonely in the city. Not in a sense like, oh, I miss my partner. Like, you know, like I never really felt that way. I would definitely miss I definitely missed my then partner. But I wouldn't like have that. I don't think I had that big of a struggle with LDR as much as other people did.
Yeah.
But I was just always so busy all the damn time.
Yeah.
That my favorite moments was when I was alone in New York City.
Oh.
That was when I was the happiest.
Right.
So usually my Saturdays are when I have all of my own time.
Yeah.
So I would wake up early. I would go to early, I mean like 10:30, because like I'm tired, right? Like I work every day, including Sundays. Like only Saturdays I don't really work. So I'll like wake up like early, and then I'll go and eat like at the ramen store like down the street, and then I'll get like a milkshake from my favorite Davies milkshake, and I'll take a subway all the way to Brooklyn to go thrift shopping for an entire day.
Oh my goodness.
And I'll do that, and then I'll like just be by myself. Sometimes I would spend time with my participants just to like, you know, be with them, get to know them even better.
Yeah.
But that was when I was like the happiest, and that always helped me curb the loneliness, I think. And I call home a lot. So sometimes even when I was thrift shopping on my own, my partner then would be on the call with me.
Oh,
and I'll
that's
be
cute.
like, hey, look at the street, look at the shirt. Do you want that shirt? You know, like and then he'll be like, I want that shirt. And I'm like, you okay? And then like, no. So I would have these little moments, and I would even post on like Instagram back then. I'd be like, hi guys, I'm at a what is that called? Outlet mall, right?
Okay,
The malls
right.
that sell things cheaper. I'm like, guys, I'm at an outlet mall. There are some caps here. Anyone want anything? I'll buy it back. I'll tell me in 2 hours. And I'll leave that on my IG story. But it's at like 2 a.m. in the morning, right? So benefit to the people who are awake.
Yeah.
And then they will tell me and I'll buy it back for them. So like I just constantly like trying to stay connected with my friends at home. And but I am a person that enjoys my own time and my own space a lot. Don't know if that really answers the question about like being lonely and stuff like that.
No, okay, I have a follow-up question to that. So would you say that like you finding all these like busying yourself is a coping mechanism of being lonely? Okay.
Well, I don't know if it's a coping mechanism of loneliness.
Yeah.
In particular, but it is a coping mechanism. I am a
what?
raging workaholic. Everybody knows I work a lot.
Yeah.
If I'm sad, I work. If I'm happy, I work.
Yeah.
If I'm tired, I work. If I'm bored, I work. Or I find work.
Yeah.
And yes, it's not necessarily a good thing, but I don't think I have that unhealthy of a relationship with work yet.
Right.
Especially in the past year with COVID, which really forced me to slow down. I think I've learned how to balance it a lot more. I used to never give myself time to rest. Not
That's
at
less
all.
than ideal.
Yeah, never. And now I rest, even if it's like an hour.
Yeah.
And I try to allocate, I schedule it in my calendar sometimes to like, I must rest now.
Yeah.
And sometimes I'm like, no, but then like I try to because I know how important that is.
Yeah.
I have a very weird relationship with work. Like how maybe someone has a relationship with alcohol or something like that. I have it with work. Right. I will create work. I will find work. So like when I was in New York and I wouldn't say bored of my job, but I wanted to be inspired by the city again. I wanted to be inspired when I go back to New York City. So I started a thrift store in Singapore. And what I would do is I would go thrift shopping in New York, bring the clothes back to sell those clothes. It's like I would curate a bunch of clothes and then I would like like have a little store.
That is incredibly enterprising. I do not know where you find the headspace for that kind of thing.
But because I was like, I just want to do something that made me excited. And I remember at that point of time, that was exciting, right?
Yeah.
And then I had to go through my own challenges of like, how do I thrift shop without the expectation in my own mind that I need to sell it?
Yeah.
Right? Because then like now I'm thinking of it like a business, not just a hobby anymore.
Yeah.
Same with streaming, you know, like I saw the next steps to streaming. I was like, but going to full-time is not as easy as anyone thinks, right? And some people have tried it and they've reverted back to being just a hobby streamer, which is totally fine, by the way. But all those things really kept me going and have motivated me somehow, some way. I don't know.
Oh, amazing. Okay, real follow-up question from the stalker. Let's bang, right? As someone who has gone overseas to New York and Japan to work long-term in the past, right? What does home mean to you?
Wow.
Philosophical.
Philosophical. Wow. Home is well, geographically still Singapore. Going overseas and living, not just going, not just like tourists going, but living overseas has made me appreciate Singapore so much more. You have no idea like how blessed we are here for what we have, the convenience, the efficiency, the attention to detail, all those things.
The safety,
exactly, 100%, right? COVID like proved that point. But home is I guess where my parents are. I think everything in my life has again is transient, right?
Right.
So my experiences in Japan, experiences in New York City, all these things, but the constant thing that has been in my life are my parents.
Right.
So like when I was in Tokyo for the first time, working on my own, I was 19 when I was there. I was pretty young. My parents flew down twice to come down to Japan,
nice.
You know, to make sure I was okay. And obviously they're worried, right? But
for sure.
like those moments really like were the ones I remember the most. And in New York, all the calls I have with them, I like to do this thing where I just put my phone on the table and then I eat my lunch and then like their dinner time and then we just talk. So it's like we're having dinner together or like breakfast depending on the time zone, right?
Yeah.
Or like I'll get a donut from Dunkin' Donuts. Dunkin' Donuts in New York is like insane, by the way. So like I'll get like a donut from Dunkin' Donuts and then like I would like eat it and like it'll be like at night for them. Then we'll just have a talk and I remember those things very vividly. Do I remember a lot of other things that happened? No, not really. So I guess wherever they are is where home is to me, knowing that there's always gonna be these people who are supporting me, looking out for me, and I guess proud of me, even if no one else is. There's always gonna be like extra humans, like my partner then, or like, you know, like my cousin. I'm really close to my cousin. But my parents, they are
you're the constant.
Yeah, even though they might not have understood everything initially, which I don't expect them to, they are definitely they always tried. Yeah, and that mattered a lot to me. They always tried to understand what I was doing. Yeah.
That's so nice. Yeah, man. Shout out to all the supportive parents out there. You know, you mean more to your kids than you know. All right, let's move on to our next question. Yeah. So it seems that Denise is in between not caring about what others think and caring a little too much.
Oh no.
Does being an online personality and being open to people's opinions, whether good or bad, take a toll on you? And does it ever get lonely following on that? Yeah.
Wow, this topic is intense, yeah?
It is.
Yeah, spot on. So I am, especially I think after coming onto Twitch, into streaming,
right?
What people say has started to matter a lot more.
Yeah, for sure.
And I see myself struggle with that, right? Like caring so much about what people think, what do they enjoy, what do they like, what are they saying about me, and I have there are countless of times where I've gone into another person's stream quietly and they are just coincidentally talking about me. I'm not even in the conversation. I'm not even there. Like, how did my name come up?
Yeah.
And I get so anxious. I'm like, why are they talking about me? Like why? I don't know why. And I naturally start to think of the not so pleasant things.
Yeah.
And I'm hyper aware that like people will say not so pleasant things about
for
me,
sure.
especially when you're on social media, right?
Mm.
So when that happens, it can go into like overdrive sometimes. And then all of a sudden, there's just like a flick of a switch that's just like, I don't care. And I'm just like, I'm just going to do what I want to do, right? And if, again, it's the same with the CATDOJO. If I let people stop me from doing all these things, then I will regret it when I get older.
Yeah, for sure.
So, I mean, there's obviously a difference with like caring too much about people's opinions versus getting feedback, right? That's like a whole other conversation.
Yeah. And
I do a lot of that. But sometimes sometimes I share this with some of my friends in chat as well. Like, I'm afraid, like, how are y'all not bored of me yet? It's been 7 months, right? Like, how are you here? How are you watching me? And why? Like, and then I get scared and nervous. But then at the same time, it's kind of like, no. Give them a reason why they should stay, right? And be like, let's go create that content that you want to do, all those things that you want to try. Let's just do it. Why are you so scared? So I'm constantly fighting. And that journey, the process of the battle is lonely.
It is.
Because it's not so easy to just tell people like, hey, I'm kind of scared no one's going to show up today on stream. And they're like, what are you talking about? You got how many viewers? And I'm like, kind of like, but you know, like, I don't mean it in that way. It's a lot of like internal anxiety that
sure.
I feel. And I think you resonate with that a lot.
I do actually.
So thankfully I found very small people that have been able to support me when I have these moments, because it can get ugly. I can be like balling and be like, I don't know what I'm doing with my life, and like I know I'm like all like happy and like jittery, but we're all like human beings, right?
For sure.
And we all have those like emotions. So I'm learning to trust that process a lot more, the process of battling between myself and learning to find a balance, or like let them live harmoniously like together. So yeah.
Fantastic. You are a star.
I am small.
A star. Okay, follow-up question to that actually. Denise once said that she reminds herself, I quote, even if you aren't confident excuse me, even if you aren't confident in yourself, have confidence in the community that you've built. I'm nothing without my community, end quote. How has your community helped to ease that loneliness for you?
Wow, wait, I love this question.
Thank you so much, Alester Pang.
Thank you so much, Alester Pang. Wow. I have said this. I said that to give context. I said that quote in my February reflection stream. Right. So I did this thing where again, I love slides. I love Google Forms. I like to think I'm OG of those things. I basically made a Google slide reflecting on my on my month with chat, all the things we did, why we did those things, and what did we learn together, what did I learn, and the thing, and I tried, and February was my first month as a full-time streamer, right, so it was a big month, right. I finally could devote my entire attention, obviously some attention to my masters, but almost all of my attention to streaming. And what I learned was like I was trying so hard to grow, because very TLDR about my stream journey, I blew up for some reason really fast, and the growth has been exponential, but naturally you will hit some form of plateau, and I was afraid of that. So I was telling myself, no, how do I grow? Not plateau. Yes, right. So I was pushing all these things and trying all these things, and I realized that, it's okay, because if there is anything that I have, is this community of people. Right. And I was sharing this with someone I was very close to. I said I was I'm not a confident person. I'm not as confident as people think I am, as what people see on social media. I feel very incompetent. I don't know how to see my own strengths. I can share all these things with you. Right. I don't feel proud of myself in that sense. I'm proud of my values, but I'm not proud of what I've achieved. I see. And that person actually told me this sentence, which I hold very closely. If you don't have confidence in yourself, have confidence in the community that you've built. And I look at my community and I realize, guys, we have something really special here, because I don't know, I don't know how special we are, but people tell me that they love being here and they feel something different compared to other chats and communities. And we throw the word community around a lot, right? But essentially, like, we're just a group of people, and I've met a lot of them in real life, and they are even more inspiring than me. If you meet them, you'll be like, wow, they're so inspiring, and they're not afraid to share that knowledge and to share the kindness. And I see them doing that here, and I see them sharing that in other communities, wherever they go to, and I'm like, we're shifting the needle, man. Like, and I don't even know what the question was, but I can talk for like ages about this little thing, and I will always think it's a small thing that we've built together, and I never take credit for it. I am simply just a form, a bottle. Like just like a vein. They are the substance. Like I am the plastic bottle that holds the Pepsi. So they are the Pepsi. Yeah, they are the Pepsi. Right. So they are like the precious thing. I don't know how to describe that. I'll get better at that. But
I think I understand.
Yeah, kind of. I don't know why I said like Pepsi. I don't know. But like just I literally owe everything to them, and they always tell me like, oh Kat, when you get bigger, will you stop reading chat? Or like when you get bigger, will you like forget us? I'm like, hell nah. And I think chat knows like how hard I try to remember everybody and to stay connected with everybody. And I think that's the most important thing for me.
Yeah. Fantastic. I think this is especially useful for content creators on the internet, because it's tough. Yeah.
It's tough.
It's tough, but it be like that sometimes. So Denise, you doing good?
Yes, very good.
Very good. Okay, then section 5. We will go into section 5 labeled meaningful.
Wow.
It gets all philosophical.
Yeah, super.
Yeah. Okay, so Denise says she thinks about death a lot.
Come on, Lester.
Our stalker's dangerous. She found all the tea. And
wow.
And she wants to be able to say that she said and showed she loves her parents enough. How much has your parents helped to shape who you are today?
Wow. Wait, those are like two really big things, right? So
I guess in this context, the death is like human mortality.
Yeah. I think random fun fact.
Yeah.
Well, actually, it's not really a fun fact anymore. You kind of said it. I think about death a lot.
Yeah.
I don't
like,
really...
As in death, as in like your own death or dying?
Anyone's death.
Right.
Not killing somebody, but like, like sometimes...
Expiring.
Yeah, sometimes when I'm... Because I used to sleep in my parents' room.
Right.
With my parents. And I would like lie in bed and I sleep beside my mom, and I would just think like, how would her funeral look like? And like I would just think about that, and I would kind of like cry to myself, because just thinking about the day that one day I'm gonna lose my mom and she's not gonna be here anymore.
Right.
And I mean, it's those kind of moments really helped me to treasure my parents a lot more.
Right.
Especially, and not just my parents, but anyone, because kind of goes back to life being transient. Everything is gonna go away.
For sure.
Everything, everyone.
Yeah.
Nothing in life is permanent. And that really made me realize how important it is to tell people how I feel, especially about them. And that's why I never hold back a thank you. I never hold back. I'm so grateful for you, and I always mean it every time I get the chance to say. Because first of all, who knows? One day I might go mute and I might never be able to speak ever again. Right? I think about that. But then obviously the more extreme way is I might die tomorrow. Nobody knows, literally. And it's really just changed the way I look at how I do things. And when I have arguments with my parents, I can't. I get like all like, oh no, I must tell them I am sorry for being disrespectful. And then like I'll send like a message, like maybe like the group chat or to my mom. I'm like, I am sorry for talking like that to you. Like because
to make up for it.
Yeah, because what if one day something happens? What if tomorrow
and you don't get to say that anymore?
Yeah, and I want to make sure that in my entire life I have been able to do my best for them and for the people around me. I think my relationship with death in that sense, it's a bit more healthy. I don't like, I want to like, you know,
Yeah.
or like anything like that. But it's more of like, I am so aware that anything can happen.
So it's like, it's not nihilistic,
What does that mean?
which is like, okay, let me just Google it so I don't mess this up.
Okay.
Nihilistic. Okay. So nihilistic means, right, the belief that life is meaningless because, you know,
Oh, I see.
it's not like, it's like a more optimistic nihilism, in the sense that like there is an expiration date and I'm gonna be optimistic with
Yes.
what I have left.
Yes. Yeah. Again, it's just how my outlook of life, I guess. And I wanted to share something, but it like totally slipped my mind.
It's okay, you can continue with
try
what
to
you
come
want
back
to
to
say.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, I guess that's kind of that's how like my relationship with death is like.
Right. And like in that sense, right? How has this philosophy, and along with your parents being who they are, how has that helped to shape who you are?
If I be super honest, because of my childhood, I was never close to my family. I had to put in a lot of effort to be close to my family, to tell them about my life, to show them that I'm there for them.
Right.
Just because of how things are like at home. I think as I get older, you know, they start to try and impart a bit more like wisdom to me. They try and like sit me down and like talk to me about certain things. And I think the most important thing that I've learned is that I need to give my parents the opportunity to be parents. Because it's really easy for us to be like, stop nagging at me, or like, I already know this, why are you telling me? But I just always remember that my parents are human beings as well. Like they are trying to figure out how to parent, how to do all these things that they're doing.
Yeah.
And I guess in that process, like we motivate and inspire each other. Because I try to have all these conversations with my parents, they become more open and honest with me. And they are like, yeah, you know, that day you were talking about this, and you know, and I will always ask them like, hey, how's your friend doing?
Yeah.
Like I try to like remember like what's happened in their day. And then they don't really ask me. It's not their fault, right? But like they don't really ask me how my day is. So I try and ask them, and then, you know, we get a conversation going. And then now they're like, oh, how's your, like we have more conversations. So I don't know. I maybe because of my family, of what has happened in the past, I just didn't have expectation on my parents to be parents. I just constantly reminded myself like they are human beings trying to figure life too. I respect them forever because they are my parents, right? That doesn't go away. When I say I don't see them like parents, I don't mean I ignore all of that or I neglect that, but it's more of like giving them the opportunity to say that they don't know what they're doing and to not know what's happening, or what does this mean, and then that's why I have quite a friendly relationship with my parents. Like my mom is my best friend. And like we've even had moments where like we will be at a karaoke, just the two of us, and we'll be singing songs, and I'll be filming this, and I'll just tell her, Mommy, I'm gonna play this at your wedding. I'm gonna play this at your funeral. And then she's like, yeah, make sure you blast all these videos at my funeral. I'm like,
So
yeah,
cute.
you can guarantee. Sing louder. And then she'll like scream in the microphone. So like I have that kind of relationship with my parents, and it ties in with my relationship with death, and I think kind of like goes into like this whole circle of like we encourage and inspire each other. I think just really briefly, I think my favorite little thing that I encouraged my parents to do was actually my dad. He's very traditional. He literally, his phone for the longest time was the Nokia phone you buy at the petrol station for 50 bucks.
Oh my goodness, yes.
So my mom would go to the petrol station like, I want the Nokia phone. And like my dad's phone for the longest time. And 2 years ago, he had a really serious health incident.
Yeah.
So faced with mortality, right? Was it mortality? Yeah, like faced with like directly. And that was when I had the opportunity to show him how much I had grown as his little daughter, right? His little baby girl. And my mom was overseas. That was the first time my mom went to Italy for holiday. She's never been on holiday for all the years she's been working.
Yeah.
Right? And that was the first time she went, and this happened. So I was learning how to like manage my mom's feelings and everyone's like emotions, and take care of my dad. And my dad has his own emotions. And
yeah, for sure.
at the same time, that was when I was doing the startups and stuff like that. And that whole experience, I think, really changed my dad. Long story short, he basically has his own startup now.
Oh.
Yeah, and his startup, you wouldn't believe it, is in tech apps.
What?
Freaking Nokia phone, dude, making applications and then coming to tell me like, look at my prototype. I'm like, very cool, daddy. Wonder where you get that from, right? And like he never understood my entrepreneurial side that much.
Yes.
And I think that experience plus I think the conversations, all these very small things that we don't know of, I think then led him to be like, I'm not young anymore. Wanna try doing it. And so he started a company with his friend and he's been doing that for the whole of COVID and it's been going good for him.
So that's amazing. I think that kind of approach that y'all have had towards each other has sort of like inspired them as well to become better people in general.
I hope so, yeah.
No, I think so too, because the thing about it is like how you mentioned about how during karaoke with your mom, and you mentioned that like, I'm gonna blast this at your funeral, and she's like, yeah, I'm gonna blast this funeral. Even that has helped sort of like her come to terms with the fact that life is finite.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess, you're right.
Yeah, and I think that's great. Okay, next question that I have for you. Denise said that she has anxiety problems and is currently seeking therapy and learning how to embrace her trauma. Right?
Yikes.
What have you learned about? No, that's fine. Being vulnerable I think it's commendable. What have you learned about yourself and about life as you continue to work on your mental health? Ooh, good question.
That was a big one. Wait, what have I learned about myself?
What have you learned about yourself and about life as you continue to work on your mental health?
Wow. I was exposed to this topic, mental health, very early on in my life before we could talk about mental health the way we do now.
Right.
And I think for the longest time, I did not want to believe that I had any form of mental health issues. Because one, I think it would be too much on my parents to take.
Yeah.
In terms of everything that was happening at home.
Right.
And like I always told myself like my situation is fine.
Yeah.
I'm not like, I'm okay.
Yeah.
It's only I think as I got a lot older and I saw myself physically incapable of doing things because of my mental and emotional state that I was like, wow, this is very real. And it shouldn't have gotten to that point, to be honest. I'm glad that now society is a bit more open and we're not waiting for everyone to break down in the middle of nowhere before we recognize that they have struggles or like anxiety struggles, anything like that. But that was my that was kind of a little bit about my journey, and every day I still struggle very much with my beautiful anxiety and my all the time, all the time, and it has taught me that I am not perfect, and as a perfectionist, that's very hard to come to terms with. It has taught me that I am a very imperfect human being, and I will. Initially, I thought it was gonna go away in the phases of my life. So like after secondary school, it's gonna go away, or like after poly, it's gonna go away. And then I realized, it's here to stay with me throughout everything, and I need to talk to my anxiety and be like, hey, what's up? Like, how you doing? So
why are you the way you are?
Yeah, like what's up, right? Like, why are you here? And I only really had that talk at the worst emotional point in my life in 2020. And that was when I started to recognize that, hey, actually, I've been through a lot of things in my life that are severely traumatic. That have, amplified my fear of all these things. And the great thing about therapy, for those of you who might not have been or are considering, is that, and I can only speak for, I guess, my therapist, but like good therapy, good therapists, they help you see the reason behind why you feel the way you feel. And I remember my therapist just told me, I was like crying and I was like telling her like all these things that happened to me and I didn't know what to do. And she just told me, this is trauma that you are dealing with. And I'm like, whoa, like I know what the word means, but I don't know if I have that, right? Like I've had like things happen to me, but like, does it constitute as like trauma? You know, like when you watch like Crime Watch and like you think like, you know, that kind of stuff, or like when you watch like police shows and like murder cases, like I didn't get like, you know, I didn't see like a murder situation, that kind of trauma, you know? So I didn't know if it was considered. And she was telling me, yeah, it is.
So that was like an epiphany moment.
Huge one. Just being able to say now that I struggle a lot with my past experiences. I have a lot of trauma from that. It's like weird, right? I don't. And this is on the internet forever now.
But it's liberating as well at the same time, right?
It was very liberating. I was like, yeah, why did I keep hiding from my experiences? Or like, why did I keep saying it doesn't matter? You know, like I have been hit by people before for an extended period of time, and that is traumatic, right? But like I have never dared to say that because I'm like, hey, at least I didn't something worse.
Yeah.
So it has been a very long journey with my my own mental health.
Right.
And I think what's so amazing is that, especially as I started streaming, I suddenly have this platform to talk about it and to tell people like, hey, it's okay. And I know how it feels to not know what to do in a situation like this. And I know that sometimes seeing resources on the internet is not very helpful because it's very passive.
Yeah.
So let's talk about it. Let me see if we can help. And I'm not gonna say I'm gonna heal you, right? My therapist did not in any way heal me.
Yeah.
But just shed so much light. Sometimes that's all a person really needs. So again, kind of really goes all the way back to the beginning that we were talking about. I'm thankful for my experiences that I've had in my life. There's a lot of things I will never share into the digital world. But all those things have helped me to make the decisions and to be able to use the platform that I have for all these reasons, right? I went on a spiel again, but yeah. So I wouldn't say I'm friends yet, but we are getting acquainted. Me and my mental health still very much. But it's a lot better now.
Yeah.
Like even small things like knowing trigger points. Knowing my own limits.
Yes.
Being aware. Wow, I didn't used to know all these things, man. Like how did I live? I had no idea, but now I know, right? So it's good. Yeah, there's growth, right? There's progress.
Yeah, it is. That's great. You know, I hope you reach the day whereby your mental health will come to you and say, I forgive you, and then you all just become friends again.
Yeah.
Throwback to an earlier point, yeah? Okay, follow next question, yeah? So Denise runs a mentorship program at CATDOJO, yeah? And said, I quote, why should I limit myself when I have such a big passion in mentoring, end quote. What motivates you to be a mentor? And is mentoring something that you see yourself doing more long-term instead of streaming?
Wow.
Whoa.
I don't even know where that quote is from anymore, to be honest.
Don't question Alastair. Don't question Alastair, is what I'm saying.
So my first startup, I did a lot of mentoring for youth, right? And that was one of the most fulfilling moments of my life. Being able to learn about a person and being able to help a person and to watch them grow and then to blossom into who they are today is incredibly fulfilling.
Yeah.
And was something I never knew I could do. Right? Like, and you might be like, how can you mentor someone that's older than you or the same age? But again, right, there's no
age limit.
Yeah. Right. The experiences that I've had from my age are a little bit different as well. And regardless of whether you have similar experiences to me, everyone has something to offer, to learn, and to teach someone else, right?
Yeah.
So I didn't really consider doing something like mentoring for stream. Just didn't click in my head very much,
Right.
actually. It was because a company reached out to me to be a mentor for a Singapore mentoring program that happened just last year. And just a very short side note, it was really funny because I only started streaming for a month and a half then. So I was very new to streaming. I wasn't even a partner. So partners are verified, right? I wasn't even verified at that point. And they called me and they're like, yeah, we have this thing happening. We have this program. Are you interested to join? And I'm like, yeah, as a mentee, right? And I was like, no, as a mentor. I'm like, huh? I'm like, what do you mean? I'm like, who is going to take me seriously? 1.5 months in, not even a partner yet. Nobody wants to be mentored. Trust me, there are people who are like, I have streamed longer than you. Why should I listen to you? But I saw the opportunity. I was like, oh, careful. I saw the opportunity and I was like, yeah, let's try. And that's what I did. And it turned out to be one of the best experiences on Twitch so far. Shout out to my 3 mentees.
Did that inspired you to start CATDOJO, right?
My 3 mentees inspired me to start the CATDOJO.
Right.
So Patrick, Mirza, MonaQQ, and Perry.
Vism.
Wow! Yeah, John remembers.
I was waiting for that.
The 3 of them, they were so kind to me and so supportive of my very unorthodox approach to mentoring.
Right.
And they grew so much. And when I say they grew, I am not talking about numbers. I'm talking about as human beings, as people, as creators, as entertainers, right? And because there was that shift in them, the results showed on its own.
Okay.
Yeah, and that's always my approach, I feel, rather than focusing on let's get the numbers up. Numbers are transient, but who you are, your core, right?
Yeah.
So they really encouraged me and showed me hey, Kat, you're not too bad at this. I'm like, oh, really? And so that was when I started. I tried and I decided to build CATDOJO, which is then this is essentially all run by myself. So it's kind of there's a duration to the program, and you get to meet different streamers, and there's essentially the mentoring. But at the end of it all, right, it's not fun being a big streamer on your own.
Right.
I'm not even a big streamer. Let's be real, guys. I'm not even a big streamer. But I don't think it'll be fun if I was here by myself. I think it's so much more fun that I have my 3 little mentees. I have my community, right? And I'd rather be at this point than to have an excessive amount of numbers and not be able to connect with them. So that was kind of, and people were reaching out to me. People were like, hey, can I be your mentee? And I was just like, whoa, people want this from me?
Yeah.
Huh? Doesn't make sense. What is happening? And tested the waters, tried things out. I did a workshop first, right, to see how it went. And the workshops were really great. Thanks to everyone who came for the workshops. And that was really when I was like, okay, let's try this out. And I have told this to everyone who has come into the interviews. I am not doing this for profit. At least not right now. I do this purely because I want to be able to help people as much as I can. And like I said, it's no fun being here by myself. So why not join me? And why not we do it together? And if this works out, then it will work out. It will find its way to work out.
Yeah.
Right? But right now, I just, again, want to be sure that I have done everything that I've wanted to do and that I won't regret not doing it. Will there be another program after this one? Who knows? Things might change. Life might change. But right now, this is what I want to do. And we'll see how it goes, right? There's no guarantee on anything. But it's really for them, for chat, for everything that they've done for me. I think this is the least that I can do is to to share as well.
Nice. Cool. I like that. Okay, so we're moving on to our final section, okay? This time for real, okay?
Okay.
Section 6, okay? Titled Hopeful. So I guess it's something to do with the future because
Ooh.
Alistair sometimes gets a little bit excited with this kind of titling. Yeah. So question 16, this is actually a chat question.
Ooh.
Right? I'm lost and I don't know what to do with my life. And I don't have a dream. What should I do?
Wow. You're lost. You don't have a dream. What should I do? To be honest, I feel like we spoke about it here and there in the podcast. I feel like we're on the same point almost. The first and most practical thing I will tell you to do is to try everything and anything that you have a hint of interest in. And even the things that you don't. I'll tell you something that I'm really not that interested in, blockchain. I'm really not really very interested in blockchain right now. I have to learn it in class, right? I deliberately took a module in my master's about Bitcoin and blockchain, and I was like, why am I here, right? I don't know anything about it.
Yeah.
But again, going in with the mentality of, as long as I gain one thing out of this, I have learned something and I have benefited. It's already growth and one step closer to finding out who you want to be and what you want to do, right? And then the same thing, if you try it and you don't like it, why do you not like it? Try to break it down, because people associate aspiration with job titles.
Yeah.
Which is horrible, because if I associated my aspiration with job titles, I would have no job right now. People create, especially in like our generation.
Yes.
Everything's suddenly coming up from nowhere.
Yeah.
You can now be a full-time TikToker and earn more money than a banker. You know what I mean? Did we know that was going to happen? No. Then how are you going to aspire to be like that, right? So find out what interests you in particular jobs, for example. So for example, I remember back in poly, I love film.
Yeah.
But why do I like film? Which part of film do I like? I realize I hate being the director.
Right.
I love being the producer.
Right.
So I love the fact that, I get to, but what about producing do I like? Do I like sourcing for location? Not really, not that fun. What do I like about it? I like that I can create the structure for the entire film, right? And then you realize that you can create structure any freaking way you go. You can do it for your streams. You can do it for programs. You can do it for events. But that is what I love about film. And that is what I loved about my work. And I took that and then I went to build startups. So I built SOPs. I built standard procedures for companies. I've done social media work because I built like calendar structures and stuff like that. CATDOJO is a lot about structuring. Streaming is all about structuring, and then you realize, like, how were you supposed to know that that was your interest if you didn't try it out?
Absolutely.
So it's not easy to identify the main thing you're interested in. But the important thing is that you allow yourself to try. You give yourself time to reflect on it, and then as you do more things, you will connect the dots. I actually did a lot of events in secondary school. I planned a lot of events in secondary school. So I thought I wanted to do events, like I wanted to be an events person.
Right.
But then no, actually what I enjoyed was the planning, the structure. And then what I have realized now is that I love doing mentorship programs. Right. Which I never knew existed when I was younger. So I could have never worked towards that at all.
I mean, to be frank, if you ask me now, it doesn't even feel like it's supposed to be a thing.
Yeah, for streamers.
But
right?
it is a thing. Yeah.
Yeah. So I guess that's kind of the advice. I don't know if that was helpful. Just try everything and then be very objective with what you enjoy and what you don't enjoy. Like, for example, the reason why I don't like math is because there's no leeway for like
interpretation.
Yeah, it's like black and white. It's like 1 + 2 is 3. It's not like it's nothing else, right? So that's why I don't really like math and don't really like counting. Like I can do account stuff, but like I don't really like math. Same with like, I guess, like science stuff, because it's kind of like that, right?
Yeah.
But with language, with art,
yes,
there's more room for
Absolutely.
What do you think it is? And then having that conversation and
Yeah.
then going deeper, talking about more things. So it's not easy. And don't be too hard on yourself if you are not able to find out what that is. But at least be accountable to yourself.
Yeah.
To know that you are one step closer to finding out what that is. I see people who tell me like, I don't know what I want to do in my life. And then they just lie on their bed or play games. And I'm like, hey, then you're not helping yourself. You're not trying anything. Then obviously you're not going to move forward.
Absolutely.
So yeah, that's kind of the advice, I guess.
Fantastic piece of advice. All right, moving on to the next question, right? Just a Twitch statistic. 2.2 million people are broadcasting on Twitch, right? So 75% of viewing belongs to 0.23% of streamers, or less than a quarter of 1%. Denise said,
What did I say? What did I say?
I quote,
What did I say?
she likes the challenge of proving people wrong, end quote, right? Do you feel better being the underdog, or are you confident that you can beat the odds?
Wait, that sentence is taken so out of context. What does that even mean? What does that have to do with the statistics?
So basically the statistics, I think what he's trying to say here is the statistics is that because there's so many people streaming, but only the top few streamers have the biggest viewership, right? So it's disproportionate in that sense.
Yeah.
Right? So you like to prove people, you like the challenge of proving people wrong, right? Because it feels like in that kind of situation, a new person is not going to be the most likely to make it, right? The most likely to grow in a community that favors that few that already stand at the top, right? Which is what I'm reading from here. So the question being, do you feel better being the underdog because you have, I don't know, some struggle to prove, and are you confident that you can beat the odds? Because the odds are stacked against you.
The odds are stacked against all of us, right?
Yep.
I think every one of us that's watching, like,
yeah, and my new burgeoning stream.
Exactly, and your new streaming career. I think it's good to remember that for most of us, or let me just speak for myself, right? I started from absolutely nothing. I am not a pre-existing personality on the internet.
Yeah.
Which naturally helps, right? Some people with getting a basic viewership. I am a literal nobody.
Yeah.
I never started this hoping that I was gonna get big. I never started this thinking I was gonna be a full-time streamer in 2021.
Yeah.
But I've always saw myself as an underdog.
Right.
So someone that's always has something to prove. But I wouldn't necessarily say to people. I think to myself. Because I am literally, like, I'm my worst critic.
Yeah.
So even like at where I am right now, I don't even think I am considered big.
Yeah.
I still see myself as an underdog.
But is there like comfort in that for you?
I guess it's a motivator.
Right.
It's a motivator to keep to remind myself like I'm not there.
Yeah.
But just in the context of our industry, we can be popular today and absolutely non-existent tomorrow.
For sure.
That is the unfortunate industry we've decided to be in.
The transient nature of our industry.
Incredibly, incredibly transient. And knowing that, plus knowing that I am actually just a very small speck in this world, motivates me to want to be better. Because I think me and my community, I think we have something good to share with people that I think if we could get it out to more people would be pretty nice. You know, it's a constant battle all the time with like wanting to grow and like dealing with numbers and like the entertainment scene.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm an underdog or undercat. Haha. Sorry, had to say it.
All right. I think that answers the question. All right.
Mhm.
Now we go on to our very, very last question. Okay.
Ooh.
So
I feel like you said
Denise-
very, very last, like
No, I haven't.
very,
This is
very
actually
many
the first
times.
time I've said it.
Oh, alright.
All right. So Denise once said, and I quote,
I've said so many things.
"You have said so many things, and Alastair has done a great job finding all those things." I quote, "Happiness is when I know I've done everything I could to help someone, to make someone's day, to practice being kind and patient to my friends, family, enemies, and strangers." End quote. So, are you happy now? And are you hopeful about the future?
I will tell you that right now I am in a very good place.
That's great.
This time last year, if I knew that this is what it was gonna be, I would have triumphed over my challenges. I still went through my struggles pretty well, I would say, but I never thought I would be here at this point where suddenly I have the platform and the ability
Right.
to be able to make an impact, a good impact onto people. I have been a nobody. 7 months ago, you all wouldn't have known me. I'm just a random stranger on the internet, right?
Yes.
And now all of a sudden, there's people listening to what I'm saying, and that was scary, that transition, and like, then what do you want to do with it? And that's why I said I want to make sure that if I have every opportunity where there's someone listening to me, that I hope that I can encourage them, motivate them, make some change to them, whether it's a small one. And I think I've been able to do that. And I always tell myself, and I tell this to others as well, as long as I'm able to make an impact to one, just one, I am happy. Yeah, that is all I need. I am not God, right?
Yeah.
I can't make you happy forever. And I know people will change, life changes, things change, but you know, I can, whatever we can do right now before the moment is gone, let's just enjoy it together. So I am in a very happy space where I am safe, physically, mentally, emotionally, and I have a very supportive and kind group of people who are showing me that I didn't have to change myself. I didn't have to hide who I am. Like, it's just like bizarre. Like this is me my entire life, right? Like, why is it suddenly like even more important now? Or like, why do people like want to know more about it now? I don't know. I really don't know. But I try not to think about the why so much for that. And I just try to be like, okay, since I have it, let's do something with it.
Yeah.
So yeah, I have no idea what the rest of this journey is going to be like. I've already faced a lot of challenges along the way, but I'm trying to hold fast to this core to, push through. So yeah.
Good job. So I would say definitely, you are definitely hopeful for the future.
Oh yeah, always hopeful.
Fantastic. And yes, that is our last question for this podcast with Denise. Or rather, you'll know her as supercatkei on the internet.
Yes.
Denise, did you enjoy yourself today?
Yeah, I did. It was really fun.
Yeah, I'm glad we got you over your nerves and your anxious laughter over dinner.
Oh my goodness. Don't call me out for my anxious laughter.
Okay, so before we end off, Denise, do you have anything that you would like to say to our audience and to people that are watching?
Thanks for watching. If you got here. What do I
Well, you can plug anything if you want.
Oh, I'm a streamer.
You never get it as much. She is a streamer.
So I'm on Twitch Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Sundays. If you wanna join us, we're very nice people. And you can also follow other social stuff, but you don't have to. You know what I mean? Like, just do what you want.
You don't have to, but you should.
I'm not good with the plugging stuff.
No, that's fine. Okay, thank you so much, Denise, for joining us today. For those of you that until now you reached until here, you still don't know she's a streamer, as she mentioned, and also do follow her on other social media like Instagram as well. And remember to follow us also, For those of you that are on YouTube and don't know anything about the Twitch community, I think she's a great place to start. And for those of you that are watching on Twitch, if you don't know anything about the YouTube community, don't know anything about people airing their opinions on the internet, hey, that's where we are. Give us a like, share, and subscribe, and tell us a little bit more about who you want to see next on our show and what kind of topics you want us to tackle next. And and I think that's it for our podcast. Thank you so much. Thank you for being with us today once again. And see you all next time we have someone on the show. Yeah, HTHT signing out. Bye.